and welcome to
Let's Talk About Book,
where we talk about
book.
And we're currently reading Blackflame,
Blackflame.
finishing it up.
Yep.
Chapters 16 through 22.
Yep, 22.
And the bloopers at the end. And I'm Smeevca.
And I'm Strawberry.
And that's
the intro.
That's the intro.
That's it.
That's the completion of the intro.
We've done it.
We've done it. Yeah, do the YouTube verbs.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, pester your friends, pester the internet. And also, sorry about missing the last...
Yeah, we missed last week.
We missed last week. We had stuff going on.
Yeah, I had my nephew's engagement party thing in Bay City.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a drive.
Yep, so you were busy.
Yep.
And we ended up missing it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we used to do every other week.
We did.
And now we do every week.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think this is like the first time.
Yeah, it's the first one we've missed.
We've missed since we moved to weekly, so
Yeah.
you know, we're doing all right. But we're finally coming back to finish up book 3 of Cradle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just get right into it. Alrighty, chapter 16.
Yeah. So we start off with Lyndon's point of view, and he's like practicing the striker technique so they can do the striker trial.
Right.
And like they haven't really been able to do it yet because he just straight up can't get the technique to work yet. It just keeps exploding.
Yeah, because there's a bit at the beginning where it's like he's sort of practicing shirtless because he would be destroying his shirt otherwise, which is funny.
Yep.
Because it's like he's got the body that he can regenerate himself, so it's really the clothes don't. So it's so it's kind of funny.
It's just like this is just easier.
This is just easier, and it keeps exploding. And then Ortho shows up and it's like, "Hey there."
Yep.
You want some pointers? Although he's not that friendly about it. Orthos is never that friendly about it, though he is, you know.
I am not pleased, he declared, snapping up a small boulder.
Yeah.
And with so much attention on your training, you should be making progress.
Right. Yeah, because then, like, Orthos, like, shows his, like, Blackflame, like, fire breathing. Dragon's breath
or whatever. And Lyndon thinks like, thanks for giving me the name of that one.
Yes,
or whatever.
right. And he does get some help from like watching it be done by Orthos.
So he sees Orthos just blast off a dragon's breath, and so he has that to work with. But then immediately Orthos
starts going crazy.
Yeah, because Blackflame...
Because the Blackflame Audra's, like, tearing him up inside and stuff.
Basically, him using it at all, like, nowadays is, like...
Gets him going.
Yeah.
You know, it eats away at him, and so then he starts kind of, like, rampaging a little bit.
Yep.
And Cassius sees this and is like, oh, fuck!
Yep.
Orthos is acting up again.
Right.
I gotta get...
Yeah, and Yerin, like, sees Orthos, like, for the first time, whatever, like, as he's, like, kind of going crazy or whatever, like, and she's, like, before he fully goes crazy, but, like, he's just kind of wandering around, he just comes up to, like, Yerin comes up and is like, Yerin came to a stop in front of Lyndon, staring up into the sky. She raised her white blade to point at Orthos without looking. Don't place a heap of bets, but if I had to bet a box of gold against a horse's hair, I'd say that was your giant Blackflame turtle. He's not well at the moment.
Yeah.
You have a leash for him? And then they're like, trying to figure out what to do. And Lyndon's like, oh, I'll get the
Sylvan River Seed.
Yeah, I want to try and get the Sylvan River Seed. And also I need to get my pack because I don't want it to get burned up.
Yeah. My pack.
Yeah. And then we go to Cassius and he sees like Orthos like spraying Blackflame all over the place and stuff. And
he's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
This seems like an Ethan problem.
Yeah. So he's like, I'll write to Ethan to see if he can come and like calm him down. Because if they can't figure out how to calm him down with like with his bond and everything, then like they'll need Ethan.
Yeah, shit'll get bad.
Yep. And Cassius also watches Lyndon like sneak behind Orthos and take his pack.
Yep.
Because he's just like shocked. He's like, what is he doing? He's like sneaking up behind Orthos and grabs his pack and runs off.
Yep. It's like, you gotta be more careful than that. I'm being careful. Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, then we, like, kind of skip a few days of,
Yeah, because, like, Orthos is, like, rampaging but can't get to them.
Yeah.
Because they're, like, in the...
And he doesn't really know where they, like, are, really. He's kind of just stumbling around, not really aware, so they're just, like, they've been hiding from him, like, in the area and stuff. And Lyndon can feel about where he is, so he can, like, they can avoid... him, so they've been like kind of sneaking around the facility, avoiding Orthos for a few days.
Yeah, I don't have a very good sense for what this place looks like at all.
I have a little bit of an idea, but not fully.
Yeah, I mean, I often have a hard time visualizing these places, but like I really don't know where they are.
Yeah, it's like it's a clearing with like these caves in like in the mountains, like around the clearing, and then there's like some sort of arch or whatever, and I think they go through the arch and like maybe go somewhere, like I don't know if the trial is there. Like I think when they walk through they like go into the trial, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
like the exact. Like,
it truly doesn't make any sense to me. It truly doesn't make any sense to me where they are and whatnot. But they're hiding from Orthos.
But it's like in this like cave system and stuff, basically.
Right, because it's like it's very unclear. Because it's like they're not underground fully all the time.
Yeah, because like they're. The area where they can get to the trials is like they can see the sky, like they're like in like the mountains or whatever, and then there's tunnels into the mountains, so that's all like underground and stuff. But like their actual caves that they sleep in are like I think close to like the mouth of those caves. I think goes into the clearing where you can like see the sky and everything. That's where they get their food, and there's like a waterfall there and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't really. It truly doesn't matter. But I just have a hard time imagining it.
I should see if they have it like this. The artistic thing that.
Right. The like long recap thing.
Yeah.
But what's important? What I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Is that Orthos is going crazy, but they can still go and do the like challenge.
Yeah.
They can still go and do the trial.
Yes, yeah.
Because Lyndon still goes and does the striker trial, right?
Yes.
Because he is able to do the striker technique because of his pure Madra stuff.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, they prepare for a few days beforehand, and he, like, figures out the...
Right, because the thing is that he's got to, like, compress the Madra into, like, a ball.
Yeah. And keep compressing it while it's spinning, basically.
Yes, and then like, let it go.
Yeah.
And he makes these like little pure Madra like half sphere things, and it's like he uses them to sort of contain it, but like they can break through these little spheres super easy, but just allows him a little bit of leeway. Yeah,
it eats through, instead of like if you immediately loses concentration it explodes. Instead, if he loses a little concentration, it eats into some of the Madra thing around it. And then once it's like all ready, it doesn't require the same amount of concentration. So it eats through the whole pure Madra like shell, and he can like then release it from there.
And when we were listening to and reading it, we were very much comparing it to Naruto and the Rasengan.
Yeah, because he has the multiple clones helping him like keep it like in like all like, spin it and stuff.
I always remember because I do remember I did actually watch that section of Naruto.
Yeah.
Like that was part that I did actually watch, where he's like learning it from Dry, and he's got, like the water balloon and like the water like spinning the water in it, and then it's like you got to spin it in all different directions, and it keeps like exploding, and so then he starts like he uses his other hand to like inject chakra into it and keep it whatever.
It's a very similar
kind of concept. And then Naruto later, he gets the shadow clones to like do it for him. And so like he can have like just the one hand, and then they're over there like pumping it up. And then but with Lyndon, he's got the little shells that he makes.
Yes.
And it's like
he had like a few of them made, and so he has them like in his pack.
Which is fun because it's like forged. It's like forged pure Madra.
Yeah.
And
which is also like something that like like someone just on the path of Blackflame or whatever, that would not be something that they would be able to like
to do,
you know.
Yep, and Yerin's a little bit like, you gotta learn how to do it the right way, but he's like, no, but like, this is...
It's like, it's close enough, like, I've mostly got it, it's just like a little bit of a, A
little bit of hope, and it's still using his technique, because it's still part of, he has to use his own Madra and forge it and all this sort of stuff,
Yeah. And then, because she's like, I don't want you to, like, you might recall I don't smile especially bright on cheating. Don't want you to take the wrong lesson. I'm happy to practice the striker technique when we get out of here. Once I get those scales and you get your pill, we have a bargain.
Fine. It's like, listen, I just gotta, like, be able to do it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get... Because also, like, listen, we're fucking crash coursing right now.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta get there in time for this fight that's definitely gonna happen in the future.
Yeah.
It still probably is, but, like, we'll get to it.
Yeah. We will get to it.
Because I was not expecting all the things that end up happening.
No.
At the end of this book.
It's a bit of a wild...
Yeah, I was just like, oh, and then just, like, a bunch of stuff is happening.
Yep.
and, like, there was, like, some lead up to it because we do know... Because it's, like, I'm jumping ahead of myself because the stuff doesn't actually happen. At the end of this chapter, though, we meet Jaya Daisho.
Yes, yeah.
Jaya Daisho, who's the head of the Jaya clan.
Yeah.
Because, like, Jai Long, we jump back to Jai Long's perspective at the end of this chapter, and he's encountering Jaya Daisho. In this chapter, though, do we see, like, because, like, Lyndon, he makes little things and that doesn't let him, like, beat the striker thing.
They do beat it in this bit.
Yeah, and then Cassius is just sort of, like, getting ready for the
ruler, because he's like, there's not much to do in the striker, like, I don't really care that much, and he's like, getting excited and kind of competitive for that.
Right. So they're like, boom, the striker part's done, getting ready for the ruler part, and then we cut over to Jai Long, who... it's like, uh-oh, turns out Jaya Daisho's here, and I can't, I truly just can't.
Yeah, he felt someone, like, veiled, and he thought that they, like, it was, like, a shitty veil, but then he, like, got up to him and was like, oh, no, it was just veiling a lot more power. I messed up.
Yeah.
This is Jaya Daisho, and I didn't realize it, and I just, like, ran up on him.
Yep, and Jaya Daisho, handily beats his ass.
Yeah.
And also, the other guy's there?
Yes, Gokren's
there, and there's, like, a whole interaction.
Yeah.
Where it's, like...
like, spare him, like, and, like, he's trying to keep Gokren from, like, fighting Jaya Daisho at all, like, because he's like, I know he'll just, like...
Right, because Jaya Daisho ends up being like, listen, reluctantly, you are the best in the Jai clan.
Yeah. But he can't even be, like, he has to still be mean about it. He's like, you are not, like, the heir. You are a stopgap measure for when we get someone better that on the actual path or whatever. And it's like, you're the one who is literally here admitting that your stuff isn't as good. His path is better than yours, actually.
Yeah.
You just have a higher advancement at
right.
Personally, I think Jai Long, at the same advancement as Jaya Daisho, fucking destroys him every time.
Right, yeah. That's probably correct, yeah.
But
yeah, and so, like, Jai Long agrees to sort of work with Jaya Daisho, and then also convinces him it's like, they make, like, a soul, whatever it's called.
Yes, like a soul oath. Oath.
Yeah, soul oath.
Oath.
A soul oath. And then he's like, turns around and makes one with Gokren to be like, serve and don't, and don't, we won't kill you. It's like, please, just, and it's like, alright, fine.
Yeah, and he's like, well, don't make him swear to me, have him swear to you, because I don't want my soul bound by more, like, oaths than I need to, or something like that.
Right.
And, yeah, and, like, Jai Long didn't really fight. He, like, started to fight, and then immediately saw it was Jaya Daisho, and just, he immediately knelt down and was like, Gokren, don't, like, stay away, like, and then he's like, let the punishment fall on me alone, and, like, he's, like, super upset to even, like, having to say this or whatever, but he's trying to save both Gokren and Jai Chen, because that's, like, mainly the only people, like... He's mainly thinking about Jai Chen, but he's also worried about Gokren.
Yeah, because he's like, supposed to assume that he knew everything, including Jai Chen's presence in the city, and then it turns out...
He already has her.
Yeah. Has already, like, taken her, and it's like...
And Jai Long is
Rats.
just like, oh, okay. And so then he basically makes a bargain, like he will serve the family. Let me see what the exact oath is. Tilly, please go on.
Tilly's been a menace. She's been going in and out all day. Like, she will...
Like, as soon as she comes in.
Like, as soon as she comes in, she's, like, standing there like she wants to go back out again. She's, like, standing near us, like, giving us that look. And then we go and let her out. And then, like, I go to the bathroom, and as soon as I'm done, I look, and she's already at the door to come in again. Yep. Like, it's so, like, quick. And it's just like, you can't. You can't keep doing this.
Okay, now she's...
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What was I looking for?
I went to pet her and she, like, moved her head away. Just like, I'll lay here, but I'm still upset.
Yeah, so it's, on my soul and power, on my soul and on my power, I swear to take no action against the Jai Patriarch or the Jai clan, to follow the orders of the Jai Patriarch absolutely, and to act always in the best interests of the Jai clan. And then Jai Daisho says, in return, I swear on my soul and on my power to protect Jai Long and Jai Chen as my own children, so long as their loyalty remains true. Mm-hmm. So those are their, like, oaths, or whatever. Yeah, there was one other thing. Jai Daisho is talking about how, like, he only has about 5 years left to live, or whatever, and that's why he's so, like, impatient to...
Right, and Jai Long's like, if he says 5 years, then it's really more like 3.
Yeah, and he's, like, laughing internally, but also is very upset and scared.
Yes.
You know? So and he's like, even with the spear, for his sister's sake, he resisted the urge to laugh at the Underlord's face. There were hundreds of thousands of loyal Jai clan members, and he couldn't find one among them who measured up to Jai Long. He hoped the regret burned.
Get fucked.
Yeah. And he also, the other thing that Jai Daisho is like upset with Jai Long is that all of this stuff that's happened has put the Aurelius, like, up
in the rankings.
Yeah. And, like, maybe out of, like, servant family territory and into, like major family territory. Yeah. Gotcha. So, like, that's part of his whole, like, you know, he's,
Yeah, because Jai Long has been going around beating up other Jai people.
Yeah.
It's been disrupting their whole
and
shit.
and lost 23 low golds, 8 high golds, and 3 true golds. Yeah, and more importantly, you forced me to stop my actions against Ethan Aurelius, which has given a servant family the opportunity to surpass our rank and join the great clans of the Empire. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. And then Gakrin, Jai Long had him swear loyalty. Sandviper Gakrin, I swear on my soul and on my power that I will have you executed if you repeat a word of anything that happened here today or betray us to our enemies. And he's like, no, we're good. I'm not saying anything.
No, I'm not saying shit.
And then Daisho is like, they're at the Blackflame trials, like, which is, like, weird. They must have, like, some sort of apprentice that they think that, like, they must think that he could beat you. But they're like, there's no way he's actually a Blackflame, because, like, that would be stupid.
That would be stupid.
It's already...
That'd be crazy.
It's already stupid to, like, open up this training facility without permission.
Right.
It would be even more stupid to be training a Blackflame, too. It would be just, like, insane.
Yeah. Which is... What the fuck?
Yup. Yeah, because, like, Jai Daisho is, like, certain about it. Like, Jai Long's like, well, maybe he is Blackflame, and Daisho's certainly not. The only Blackflame they have is that insane turtle, and he's too old to form a contract.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, so then he's like, my plans are all in motion or whatever, and then he, like, sets off, like, a signal of, like, of Madra or whatever, and then the entire Jai clan just starts attacking the Aurelius family.
The Aurelius, yep. Yeah, and that really, because, like, there'd been some talk, like, that the Jai clan had been messing with the Aurelius, but we only hear about it.
Yeah.
We only just hear, like, they've been messing with us.
Yeah. Yeah, like, we only see it in, like, Jai Long's perspective, because he's been almost helping the Aurelius by taking out the Jai clan members that have been attacking Aurelius, like, just, like, messing with them.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's, like, it hadn't been super in my mind, so when all of this pops off, I'm just like, so that's what this book is about, I guess. I was not expecting this to be the climax of this book. I didn't know what exactly was going to be the climax of this book, but I was not expecting it to be this.
Like a full-on, like,
just like, time to fucking, I'm trying to think of, like, an appropriate, like, comparison.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, in a sense, because they're like a family, we're almost genociding them.
Right.
You know? We're Star Wars. We're Order...
Oh, yeah.
Order whatever.
66, I think?
Yeah, Order 66 or whatever it's called. We're just murdering the Jedi now, but instead it's the Aurelius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, time to go Order 66 on the Aurelius clan.
Yep, and they're also attacking, because I think they talk about this, like, in the next chapter and stuff, because they're not just attacking Aurelius, they're attacking, like, because Serpent's Grave is, like, a main area for the Jai clan, so they're, like, kind of reclaiming territory. They're taking out, mainly going after Aurelius, but they're going after almost everyone else as well. Yeah. That aren't, like, Jai.
Yeah.
And stuff, or any, like, enemies and stuff like that. It's just, like, a full scale.
It's weird. It's weird and crazy, this world.
Yeah.
The idea that
it's very, like, how it... Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, like... I'm curious where we're gonna take some of this.
Yeah.
Because it's, like... Truly, what if society was built on the principle that might makes right?
Yeah.
To, like... Just, like, literally.
Yes.
Like, in a very literal sense, our society is just...
Built on that, yeah.
Built on the idea that might makes right. And, like... Is that going to get challenged, or are we just going to get mighty enough and be right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that sometimes happens with these kinds of, like, shonen things.
Right.
Where it's like, and it turns out that might does make right. Or might doesn't make right, but, you know, if you are right, you'll get enough might. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm like, how is this all going to kind of end up? Because we are going to get, like, more and more powerful, but what does that, like, you know...
Look like?
Yeah, what does that look like? And, like, you know, yeah. And it feels weird because, like, yeah, so much of why this is a problem is that we have this might makes right mentality where it's just like, oh, you know, they just, like, murdered a whole bunch of people in the city, but, like, you know, they had the right to because they were stronger.
Yep.
And it's like, that shouldn't be how this is.
Yep. Yeah, the only ones that they're not going after is, I think, the red flower, which grow the food.
Right,
the red flower family, off limits. They grow the food, and it will bring the Skysworn down on the city.
Yeah, but you're so stupid still. Don't... The fucking Aurelius people...
Yep.
Clean! They run the sewers!
But they're afraid of the Aurelius.
Yeah.
There's, like, the fear because of the amount of information that they have, because we, like...
Yeah, but do you know what happens when there's, like, a garbage man strike?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's so bad. It's like...
Right.
When no one's actually taking care of waste management, shit gets real bad real fast in an urban environment like that. So, like, they're also important like the people who grow the food.
They absolutely are.
So, like... You know, if the red flowers were out here getting super strong and training up a Blackflame, would you be murdering them even though they make all the food? Dumbass. Anyway.
But,
yeah. And that's kind of the end of the chapter.
Yeah, so he basically is like, he's bragging a bit because he had to do this all under Aurelius supervision. So he had to be very, very quiet about it and wait till Ethan was, like, out of the city to do a lot of stuff and stuff like that. And
to kind of be, like, obvious.
Yeah.
Like, make it seem like they're maybe going to be doing something else.
Yeah. So they were making it look like, one, they were scared of Jai Long, and so like they had, like, these curfews placed, and, like, these communities where, like, and, like, they were passing out, like, communication devices and stuff like that under the guise of Jai Long's been attacking, you need to stay safe, and they've been using Jai Long as a cover for them building up their power in the area and bringing more people in and stuff. Yeah. Without being suspicious.
Yeah, without making it seem like they were going after... Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no, they're just scared of Jai Long and are trying to, you know, like...
Right, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I think that's the end of this chapter then.
Alrighty. Chapter 17. Yeah. We took a little break.
Yep.
And by a little break, I mean it's the next day. But we're back to do chapter 17.
Yeah. And 18. And 19.
Nope, we're just doing chapter 17. This episode's only 2 chapters. Look at the title. But yeah. So...
We started in chapter 17 with Ethan. He sees, he sees everything. He sees, because it's like he saw the man who had launched the technique with white metal hair down to his waist and the young man at his side, and then he like hears everything going on and sees all of his family and such being
killed,
and stuff.
Yeah, and Ethan's not doing so great.
No, he's real upset about it, and he feels like extremely blind and just like frustrated because like it happened like while he like while his back was turned and everything.
Right.
And he's like, he only returned because of Cassius, like because of Orthos was going crazy, so he was called back to the town or whatever. And Ethan goes. Ethan had been sure he was winning the game right up until his opponent swept the cards off the table and stabbed him.
Yeah, that's how games go.
Yep. Yeah, and an unfamiliar fear flooded him. If they had hidden this from him, what else had he missed? What unseen threats lurked beyond his sight? And so then he like rushes to. I'm not sure where he's headed to. I think he's like headed back to like Lyndon and Yerin.
I thought it was just kind of heading back to...
Or, like, back to the city and
stuff. Back to the city in general.
Yeah, because I'm remembering he's, like, on one of the mountains, so I guess it would be just, like, a little...
Yeah. But I also noticed it says hollow armor.
Yes.
Through his whole body.
Yep. His Madra spun the hollow armor through his whole body, and it's a enforcer technique that he uses.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because while we had been reading this and stuff, I had been like... What's Ethan all about?
Because I think you might have said this in the last podcast, too, when we talked about this book, where you theorized what his Madra was.
Yes, I'm like, what kind of Madra does he have? What kind of shit is he using? Because he makes a scale and gives it to the Sylvan River Seed, and it eats it like how it does with
Lyndon's.
With Lyndon's, so it's like, wait, but if he can make a scale, wouldn't that mean pure Madra? And we get more of that as these sections go on. I mean, this is the episode for
like the end of the book.
The end of the book, the rest of the book. Yeah. So but and so it's interesting that just getting like these little bits in Ethan's perspective where he's like doing techniques and stuff.
Yeah, and he's like thinking like there's not like a his path isn't the best for like enforcer techniques and stuff, but like this like works and stuff, so you get little hints of like what his path is.
Right. Yeah.
And
and also it's like he's an underlord. He has the like spirit flame, whatever that's about, soul fire.
Yep.
Which is he also gave to the Sylvan River Seed.
Yes.
Before and stuff, and we get a little bit more about that, but not much. In sort of this last bit of
there's book. There's a little section on Soulfire in a little bit that we can talk about it.
Yeah, but right now in this chapter it's mostly just Ethan.
He's kind of just like rushing to the city trying to help people. He like takes a hairpin from someone and throws it through the guy's throat and kills him with a hairpin because he doesn't want to take her dagger and leave her defenseless.
Yeah, because he's just like a big thing that's going to be going on throughout is Ethan just sort of using normal objects.
Yes.
But super powered. Like it gives me big hockey vibes from One Piece. You know, he's just like fucking armament hockeyed out, turning all these regular items into actual weapons. Yeah. So there's a really fun. This whole section with Ethan it's good and stressful, and you're like, but it's also a fun bit of like you see him kind of like running throughout town and like doing his shit, being cool like he is, but then also it's like because he's so aware of everything around him,
right?
He's so aware of all of his people dying and what they're going through and stuff, which is very sort of endearing to him as like a leader of this clan. The fact that like he's keeping an eye on everyone and he cares when he feels them all getting attacked and stuff. Yeah.
And so then he like runs up and he runs across like a plateau and stuff, and he runs into a boundary field that Jai Daisho like set up. So he runs in, and it's supposed to be like you can't. I think in Jai Daisho's section he talks more about the boundary field and what it like fully does. You're not supposed to physically be able to leave the boundary field without like being hurt and stuff, and you can't you shouldn't be able to see or hear out of it, except for he knows Ethan would be able to because of his bloodline. Yeah,
because of his special
abilities. You can't
use
Madra outside of it, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm so curious, like, now as we get, like, more about him, and like we learn eventually that he does have like pure Madra and stuff. It's like, what is their bloodline ability thing? What's that about?
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is a special thing that we have because of our bloodline.
Yeah, because it's not like the Aurelius like path. It's not like they're like they have a bunch of different paths and stuff that they.
And so far that hasn't been a thing except for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the Sand Viper sect. Yep. They all use the same path, and they go on this path,
and they use the same like iron body, but they have to do something to get that iron body. It seems like the Aurelius.
This is just like an inherent thing with them, and that hasn't really like been a thing with the other people that we've met. It's like, you know, this like it's like, can you just learn this? Presumably not if it's a bloodline ability. So it's like, what's up with that?
How did this come about?
How did this come about? Where do these come from? How do they work? It's, you know, curious about that.
Yeah. Do you think there's other bloodline type of things, or is it just...
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I'm like, there simply have to be other ones, or else, you know, it'd be weird if it was...
Feel a lot of place.
A lot of place if it was just them, and then it's like, why? It's canon. You know?
The others are just cool like that.
No, they're just cool like that. I mean, like, you know, if there was, like, you know...
Yeah.
There could be, like, there is a reason, but it's like, it's hard to, you know... It's like, oh, we did some crazy shit way back in our ancestry that caused this, and so, like, it could happen again with another thing.
Right.
But, like, you know, it could be rare, or maybe it's just, like, you know, it's not common here, but more common elsewhere.
Right.
You know, like, who knows? But I feel like there's gotta be multiple.
Yeah. I like the thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, like, right now, Ethan's trapped by the boundary thing, and there's, like, a bunch of... Jai clan elders.
Yeah, there's a bunch of there's like 6 or so true gold like elders or whatever, and they're kind of just keeping him in place for Jai Daisho to come up, so like he can get there. And then we've got the famous Ethan line, "Gentlemen, this is a mistake."
Yeah. Ethan's not happy. He's not happy about this.
No, he's real upset. I think this is like one of the only times we see him without a smile.
Yes.
Yeah. He tried to pull up a smile, but it wouldn't come.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yep. He's not smiling, which is unusual.
Yep.
And then we cut to Cassius.
Yep. Yeah, and so we start with Cassius, where he's just like super excited for the ruler trial. He's just like, I'm getting competitive. I'm feeling a bit like Ethan. He's got like a little grin going on. And then he feels the attack happen, and like Ethan, he can see not quite as much as Ethan, but like he can see what's going on, and sees that it's happening all throughout the city, and he's terrified because he knows his wife and kid are in the city.
Right.
And so he immediately just leaves. Like, he pulverizes the chair that he's in. He leaves so quickly. Yeah,
he's just like, I'm not bothering staying here anymore.
Nope.
I gotta go.
Didn't tell Lyndon or Yerin at all. Just, boom, out of there. And he just starts running through the city.
Yep.
And he's running and just, like, searching the city to, like, see if he can, like, see her anywhere or anything. And so then he runs into a bunch of, like, some high golds that he, like, knows, like, from the Jai clan. And he basically just doesn't react because he's, like, looking for his family, and he doesn't, like... They, like, start kind of attacking him, and they're trying to, like, either capture or, like, kill him or whatever, and they're talking, like, oh, it can't be, like, a blood, like, Aurelius, we would, like, be dead by now, basically. And then Cassius finds his wife, and then is immediately like, okay, now I can deal with this, and kills all of them.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, because he would have been the Ethan if Ethan wasn't here.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's, so, like, he's not... So he's a high gold, so he's the top 2 high golds in the Empire. His wife, Narjing, is 1, and then he's 2.
Yeah.
Basically. And then he also said that if, like, they would have worked together, if they, like knew it was him and worked together, like, he wouldn't have beat all of them. But since they were, like, surprised and he just, like...
Yeah, since he was able to kind of catch them off guard there.
Yeah, that was, like, why he was able to do that. And he just... Because he does, like, Silver Step or whatever, which is... He's, like, It's like a sword mantra type of...
Yeah, because he's also a sword path.
Yes.
Like Yerin, but different from Yerin, because
yeah.
Yerin's got a very particular path.
Yeah, so it's almost like a blade dash. Like I'm thinking of like Hades 2 and stuff. We've been playing a lot of that because it's like he goes the silver step was an enforcer technique with striker elements meant to help mobility in a short range fight. It was the only movement technique he knew. But he used it anyway, kicking off the ground and leaving a silver ripple behind. So, like, I think it's just a... And then he...
Yeah, I mean, with, like, the silver...
Yeah.
The silver ripple that he creates.
Yeah.
If that's...
I think that's sword mantra.
Yeah, because if that's sword mantra, then I imagine that it would hurt people if they were...
Right.
Around when he did it.
But, yeah. But this fight is also, like, it's good and like, interesting. And this whole scene is good, but it's a lot of, like, you know, fast-paced...
Right.
Like, fighting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's like, Jia, I'm disappointed you didn't recognize me. Her face paled. I'm sorry, we thought you were... Run! Everyone run!
Yeah.
What is it? It's Cat! And then everyone's dead.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so then we go to Fisher Gesha.
Yeah, because we see the thing where it's like part of the reason why he was able to marry into the Naru clan, which is the Imperial family, is because of how fucking cool he is.
Yep, how strong he is.
Yep.
It's 3 reasons or whatever.
Yep. First, the recommendation of his family underlord. Second, the personal feelings of Naru Jing, star of the clan's young generation. And third, his personal strength.
Yep.
He's a strong asset for them to have, and we finally get to see Cassius kind of like go off.
Yep. Because we've only seen him in regards to Athan, which just isn't fair.
Right. Yeah, because that's always the case where it's like as soon as you advance from one to the other, it's like you're on a certain strata.
A full different playing field.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like each jump is such a big jump that each advancement is just its own little, like, everyone within that advancement, there can be, like, variation, but from one to another, it's such an obvious difference.
It's, like, almost impossible to bridge that. Like, it is, but, like, you know.
And it's just fascinating.
Yep. But, yeah.
Yeah, and then we jump to
Fisher Gesha.
To Fisher Gesha.
Yep.
who's just kind of webbing herself in a corner. Yeah. In like one of the
she's finding this I think she goes into a cellar in this building and then just like she puts traps on the door and then webs her to a corner and puts more traps around her and puts a bunch of constructs like filling the room with constructs.
Because doesn't she web herself into like a ceiling corner?
I think so. Yes.
Like she's like up in like the ceiling corner.
Finally, she ran to the back of the storehouse and webbed herself to the ceiling.
Yep.
Wasting my time, risking my life. Too old for this. I also love, like, this is what you get, trying to see new places at your age.
Yep.
Came to get a taste of the Empire, didn't you? Came to teach a promising student. And where is he, Tucked away in a mountain, isn't he? Not even thinking of soul-snipping.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, yeah. See, part of the thing is, and this is something we were talking about a lot off podcast yesterday, is that because we've been doing this like back and forth thing
between the two books
it's like I'm like, oh yeah, that was this book back at the beginning whenever we got Fisher Gesha,
where he did a bunch of soul smithing at the beginning.
Yeah, but it's been like less of a thing, and Fisher Gesha's just kind of not been a part of any of this for a little while. And so it's funny, it's like cutting back to her and she's just like what
am I even doing? This attack is happening, this is stupid.
Goes and wraps herself up in a cocoon in the corner. Yep.
Also with her the like shelter that she found or whatever, but it was the most secure location she knew of outside the Aurelius shelters. Forget the shelters. A bunch of victims packed inside like weeds waiting to be plucked. She's like, nah. Nope.
Not for me.
Yep. Yeah, she steals them with layers of threads, and then ties. Then she physically ties it shut, and then she
sets all the magical defenses.
Yep. And so then we switch over to Jailong and
Gakrin.
Yep. And they're getting set up outside like the trial area to ambush Lyndon and Yerin when they come out.
Yep.
And they basically want they decide that Jailong's gonna go after Yerin, and Gakrin can go after Linden, because Gakrin wants, like, revenge on Linden for killing Crawl, and Jailong wants a fight, or, like, wants a good fight against Yerin, and kind of wants to, like, just recruit her, and, like, she's powerful and is, like, worth something, and to him, Linden is not worth anything and just needs to go anyway.
Yeah, it's like Gakrin wants to fight Linden for personal reasons, and Jailong is just like, well, then I'll get the other one.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. And then we cut over to Linden and Yerin as they're kind of getting ready to do the freaking ruler trial.
Yeah, they're reading, like, the tablet, and so they're talking about, like, the Void Dragon's dance, which he's heard a little bit from and, like, seen demonstrated by Orthos before. Yeah,
back in earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he sees, like, the name for it. And then he's like, right, Void Dragon's dance.
It's
and we also
Dance of the Dragon of Emptiness? Not fierce? Nothing fierce about this one? And then he's like, no, Void Dragon's dance.
He's like, ooh, that's a good one. Yep. The dragon advances, the dragon destroys, the dragon conquers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's the, so, like, as they're looking at the tablet and, like, talking through this or whatever, Linden feels, like, the Madra from, like, the signal at the start of the attack, and he's like, ooh, is it a celebration?
Right.
And Yerin's immediately, like, staring out, immediately tense, and Linden's like, oh, no, I misjudged.
Yeah, because he's like, back home, we would do light, Madra stuff to make fireworks, essentially, so... He's got a different idea. And
so then Orthos also feels it, and because he's upset about the attack happening and stuff, he, like, feels like he's a protector of the Aurelius family and stuff. He starts going crazy, and... Yeah,
because he hasn't fully recovered.
Yep.
Because he started kind of going off and getting mad.
Yep, he was having problems after he showed the striker technique to Linden.
And he hasn't, like, gotten over that yet.
Yep. Yeah, so then it, like, just flared up and made him even worse, and so he's just starts rampaging, and they're, like, he's worried about getting to his pack, he wants to get to the River Seed and everything, and then Yerin's like, that's your turtle? Not at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, and he tries to stab with the dagger, the half silver, but it just doesn't do anything. It just breaks. Like, snaps.
Yep, it breaks because Orthos's, like, hide, like, the scales are just too
strong.
Yep.
Yeah, and also if you go back one page, Yerin says that he's, that sacred beasts aren't quite the same as, like, people when it comes to, like...
Measuring power,
but then he's probably, like, true gold, essentially.
Yep.
And so they're like, ooh...
Yep.
This isn't good. There's a bunch of, Holly had to make a little nest for herself in the blankets. There's a pile of stuff in her normal spot, and so she's having to... having to do her little dance and need the blanket.
You found a good spot?
Aww, cute. But anyway, so they gotta fight Orthos a little bit.
Yep. So Yerin starts, like, fighting it or whatever, and then Linden's like, ooh, I can go and get the River Seed and maybe help Orthos, I don't know. Well, I have this dagger, let's try the half-silver dagger, because it disrupts Madra.
Right.
Doesn't work, it
doesn't
snaps.
Work.
And so then they, like, they keep fighting or whatever, and Linden kind of just thinks, like, the only reason why they're doing all right in this is that Orthos is, like, can't think properly, and that's kind of, like, why they even have a chance right now.
Right. If Orthos was in his right mind and trying to fight them, then it'd be a completely different story.
Yep.
And is that the end of chapter 17?
Yep, because then we continue the fight in chapter 18.
Gotcha. And in chapter 18, we continue the fight.
Yeah.
And we start with Yerin?
Yep, yeah. So we're in Yerin's point of view for this fight and such.
Yeah, and Yerin has a lot of thoughts about the fear of death in combat.
Yep.
Because that'll come up again throughout this last section.
Yeah, and thinking more about, like, her master's voice is finally starting to scrape her nerves, and, like, all of that, where it's just... she learned so much from the instincts bubbling up from his remnant that she couldn't believe that Ethan had ever told her to get rid of him. But now he was starting to feel like a burden. Her gold sign twitched like her master wanted to cut the turtle in half. Well, that would be just fine if it weren't a turtle. There's a big mound of shell in the way. The sword sage didn't see the problem. He could cut through it, but, that she can't, and,
Right, yeah.
So it's just giving her incorrect information for what she can do.
Yeah. Ollie just leapt, but just oddly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's getting frustrated with the remnant inside of her.
And then she's also thinking, like, how, like, proud she is of Lyndon and stuff. Like, if not for Lyndon, she'd be dead already. When she saw him catch a gap in Orthol's defense and rush in to hammer it, she was prouder than a hen with 6 eggs. And so she's, like, thinking about, like, how, like, it feels good to, like, fight with him and stuff. And that they, like, need to finish it soon.
Yeah, and she's got the steel-born iron body.
Yep.
And it, like, gives her a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Because I think that it was talked about before, that her iron body's better for, like, pure strength.
Pure strength, yeah. And also that she won't really feel much use of it until, like, further advancement or whatever.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I imagine that's, like, it'll be strong enough to withstand going all out later. Would be my guess. Or, because I think about, like, there's this whole thing about, like, oh, you have, like, destruction aura cycling through your body.
Yes, yeah.
And turning it into destruction module and whatnot, that it, like, eats away at you and, like, hurts you. And I'm like, yeah, imagine filling your system with pure essence of sharpness.
Also
probably not great for you,
Yeah.
It's like I have pure essence of sharp cycling through my whole body.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? But she in this section she gets impressed with, like, Lyndon's iron body, and she's like, oh, Ethan really did him good giving him that iron body.
That and, like, the cycling technique, because he has, like, so much more Madra than he used to. Because she sees his core and realizes he's at Jade in both of his cores, which she was, like, super shocked about.
Gotcha.
And they, like, both now feel like a kind of, like, normal core. Like, each of them feel like a typical Jade core.
Gotcha.
And so she's basically like, oh, if that was, like, his technique, like, actually Ethan's, like, cycling technique, then, like, he was actually passing down something that, like, meant something to him, and he like actually wants to treat them as, like, disciples and students.
Right. And she starts to kind of, like, trust Ethan as, like, a teacher a bit more.
Yeah.
And that he's, like, really, cares and is gonna, like, treat them well. Which is sort of important when it comes to her eventually, like, giving up on her master's remnant and getting to the point where she can, like, use it herself. Yeah, because that was another thing that we were talking about. Because, like, we had a whole, like, little discussion off podcast because I was, like, trying to, like, work through some of my feelings about these chapters, but we'll get into it as it goes on. No, you're good.
Yeah, so they continue, like, fighting and such or whatever. And so, like, they do, like, a big attack or whatever, and, like, are able to, like, knock him down, and, like, then Lyndon does an empty palm. So, like, he's like immobilized and such, because, like, Yerin threw her sword underneath and then used the ruler technique, endless sword, to, like, get, like, under the shell or whatever, and get Orthos like knocked over and stuff. And then Lyndon does the empty palm, and then Yerin's ready to, like, kill him or whatever, and then Lyndon's like, wait, I really don't want to. Like, he doesn't deserve to die here, and the Sylvan might help him, and she's like, this is ridiculous, like, we're gonna die if we don't just, like, kill him. And she's like, you could like bond his remnant or whatever, and, like, that'll get you to gold, like, it'll
be basically the same. Because that was a thing that when we were reading I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Because, like, I always forget about the remnant. The remnant is, like, such an important part of all this, and it's so fascinating because you gotta, if you kill someone, you gotta fight them twice. And then it's like, the remnant isn't the person though.
That's another thing though, like, They might have a hard time with the remnant if they killed Orthos right now. Like, I don't know how easily he would be able to bond it, like if he'd be able to bond it immediately, or if they just have to, like, wait and run away from the remnant. Like, because there's no way they're beating Orthos' remnant right now.
Yeah, it's like if the remnant started fighting them and it's actually, like, fighting properly, then there's, like, really no chance.
Right. If it just like, runs off, but, like, who knows?
If it just, like, you know, dopes around, not really doing anything like they do sometimes, then that'd be fine, but, like, there's no guarantee what it's gonna do.
Right. And so, Yerin decides she's gonna kill him anyway, because she, like, can't take the, you know, the chance. And then makes, like, eye contact with Orthos, and Orthos, like, comes back to himself for like, a second, and tells her to, like, do what you must. And, so then Yerin immediately, she's just like,
she backs down.
Yeah, backs down. Not even an enemy, really, is he?
She muttered.
Yeah. I never thought so, no. The path makes him crazy. Yeah. His mind can't compete with the feelings in his spirit. That's the impression I get. Well, if that happens to you, I will cut your head off. And, there's another, the Sword Sage taught her not to show mercy to her enemies, but he also taught her to act in a way she wouldn't regret. Well, if his bloodthirsty remnant and her blood Madra parasite agreed on something, she could bet she'd regret it sooner or later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then they go and get Little Blue and try to go and use it on Orthos, but Orthos is gone.
Gotcha.
He, like, went missing, and he's, like, just in the tunnels. He, like, wandered off.
Gotcha.
And so then
Forgot about that.
Yeah, so then they decide, so then Lyndon's like, I doubt we can clear the ruler trial now, and it's all busted
Been fucked up by the fight.
Yeah. It's like, I don't think so.
It's like, I guess we'll have to just, like, call it off now.
You think Ethan will understand us leaving early?
Like, I sure hope so.
Yaren's like, there's an attack happening. What do you mean? We gotta get out of here. Yeah, he'll understand it. If he doesn't, then that's fucked. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, then fuck him. He's wrong
like, seriously.
for that.
She's like, we're getting out of here. Yeah, because they like went out onto the, like, cliff and, like, look at the city, and they see the attack happening and all of that, and they're like, oh, this is bad. And Yerin goes, Ethan's not in the city. How can you be sure? This wouldn't be happening. There'd be heaps of dead Jai clansmen piled up all over the city.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And, so then because then they run into Jailong and, Gukrin.
Gotcha.
And they have a few other, I think, like, 5 other, Sand Viper, like, high golds, I think.
Gotcha. Show me a fair fight, and I'll show you an opponent who has lost his mind. Yeah.
Some advice from her master. Yeah. Even so, there were rigged games, and then there was suicide. And so she wants to get, like, Lyndon out of this fight with, like, 2 true golds and such. And they've just been fighting Orthos, so they're not really in the best of condition for this fight.
No, they're really not.
And so then Yerin and Jailong, like, talk or whatever. Jailong's like, you know, if you told me, like, who you were last time, I would, like, wouldn't have done anything out of respect for your master, like, you know.
And she's like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And so then one of them, I think Gukrin, tries to... Yeah, so, like, she, in that blink where they weren't focused on her, Yerin spun. She kicked Lyndon in the chest, sending him back into the tunnel and closer to the trial. So she, like,
tries to kind of get him out of there.
Yeah. Because, like, right out of the way of a technique and stuff. And then, Gukrin, like, follows him into the tunnel or whatever, and then she is keeping Jailong, and, like, fighting him.
Yeah, trying to keep him busy.
Yep.
Yeah, because we end up getting Gukrin versus... Lyndon and Jailong versus Yerin.
Yeah.
Which, poor Gukrin.
Yeah.
Gukrin just wants, you know, because also it's like, on the one hand, you gotta be like, listen, the Sand Vipers, they're like, you know, they were enslaving people to go into a mine and create, you know.
I do want to say, I'm pretty sure that was Jailong's.
That was Jailong's plan?
Yes, because, like, Gukrin wasn't, like, setting up in the Transcendent Ruins. Like,
he
was off on another, like, thing, and Jailong is basically the
one who was in charge. He was
basically the one in charge, and he was the one known for, you know, like...
like, running things
running things. I think that was more likely than not Jailong's setup.
Yeah, rather than, like, crawls or whatever.
Right.
I mean, crawls still, like, I guess, like, allowed it.
Oh, yeah. He allowed... Not that, like, they're, like, great, necessarily. And, like, they definitely all, like, went with it and were fine with it, you know.
Right. Yeah.
We're fine enough.
Yeah. It's interesting because Gakren just ends up being this guy who's just kind of, like, around.
Yeah.
Like, Gakren ends up not really doing much besides just sort of, like... It's really nice that he's, like, there for Jailong. And then he just wants to, like, avenge his son, which is very understandable.
Yep.
And then he ends up fighting Linden.
Yeah.
Who's now got the power of pure destruction and flame on his side.
Yep.
So it's you know.
And we've been getting, like, little, like, bits throughout this whole book, with, like, these little comments where he's, like, slightly uncomfortable with the power of Blackflame and just, like, how destructive it is and how, like, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And all that. And it's just, like, it basically being shocked with how easy the destruction is, basically.
Yes. How easy it is to just fucking destroy things.
Yeah.
To just, like, fucking tear holes in walls with pure destruction power.
Yep, and as soon as he, like, gets the striker technique, like, once he gets it, it's just like it's almost like a laser of, you know.
Yep, of, like, just anything in its path it cuts through.
Yep.
Which is, wild. It makes me think a little bit of, like, Balefire.
Yeah. Except for it doesn't remove things from time.
Yeah, Balefire is fucking crazy.
That's You don't wanna mess with Balefire. The villains didn't want to mess with Balefire. They were like, "What the fuck? Stop messing with Balefire. You're gonna mess up the world."
I just had, like, some thoughts about Wheel of Time and, like, Balefire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have thoughts now, but
this isn't.
But this isn't the podcast for that. But I should talk to you about it at some point.
I'm intrigued. I'll have to ask you about your Balefire theories.
Yeah, I'll just say that because it involves, like, time stuff, I'm like, could you do X with it? But
yeah.
Because Rand has things that he wants to accomplish, and I'm like, could he accomplish them with Balefire? Question mark.
It depends on what it is that. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, I guess basically it's just like, I'm like, because if you Balefire enough, you can just completely obliterate someone from having ever existed, essentially.
Basically.
And so I'm like, can you somehow use that to cure the taint on Sidene or whatever?
It'd probably be too long ago. Because, like, it's proportional to, like, how strong of a channeler you are.
Yeah.
And, like...
yeah, but if he's using, you know, the big fucking things...
I don't think with Balefire.
Yeah.
Like...
if you maybe did something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm curious, it's like, can you fucking Balefire the Dark One himself?
Right.
Make it so he never existed?
Right.
And what would that look like?
Yeah.
But, you know, fucking Shaitan. But also, like, where even is Shaitan in any sort of, like, physical sense?
Right.
So...
right.
I still have, like, a few books to go. I need to, like, finish that series.
Because you're on, like, what, like 11 or something?
I'm on, like, Heart of Winter or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Winter's Heart, I think.
Winter's Heart. It's Winter's Heart, but I always want to call it Heart of Winter. But, yeah, I'm, like, really towards the end of that book. I've just been going so slow with it.
Yeah, it's, a lot of people's not favorite.
Yeah.
I think this is the one that some people are just like, you don't need it, almost. There's one of them, I don't remember which one it is.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm like pretty close to the end of it. I just need to like finish it. Like I'll think about listening to it at work and then I just don't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So we end up, I think we were done with that.
Right, yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll
with the soul section and then we move on to Jai Daisho.
Yeah. So I don't have a ton of notes on this, unfortunately. Like, my summary is horrible.
Yeah, your little summary is just, thinks he has Athan completely trapped, Soulfire.
It's such a bad...
Yeah, because we get a little bit of, like, talk about Soulfire here, but I don't remember exactly what the deal is. Because, like, you know, he has it because he's an Underlord.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, so we're in Jai Daisho's perspective, and he's basically kind of gloating to Athan as, like, he'll be able to, like, see and hear out, like, normally people wouldn't be able to, but, like, that's good. He can see, you know, like, what's happening. Like, your path of recklessness led us here, 11. You've done as you wished, acting on the whims of youth without respect or consideration. This is a harvest that you have planted.
Yeah, and then, Ethan's there with just a broom.
Yep.
Just a regular-ass broom.
And
he's, like, really annoyed at him.
Yep. Yeah, he's like, speak to me, or whatever, and Ethan's just spinning his broom and, like, not saying anything. And, then, Jedi Show is like, then you'll forgive me for testing the skills of the youngest Underlord in the Empire. And, so they also don't know what his path is. So, like, they were trying to, like, make something that would...
Yeah, there are no reports of his ever using a striker technique.
Yeah. And he asks about the boundary field and stuff.
And he's like, it's here to trap you so that you won't run away.
Yep. And then Ethan goes, thank you. Now there are no witnesses. Because he's in this boundary field.
Yep, so it's like, time to just start murdering the fuck out of you guys.
Yep. So then he uses Soulfire on his broom. And where the blaze passed, the broom's color darkened, remade in the fires of condensed vital aura. It would conduct energy almost perfectly now, and it would be tougher than steel. All the best weapons were imbued with a Lord's Soulfire.
It's hockey. It's straight up armament hockey.
There's some stuff in, like, some of this that feels very...
very, like, One Piece inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, like, also earlier when Jedi Show did the, like, thing that made everyone... Like, that felt kind of Conqueror's hockey-ish almost. And so it's, like, Soulfire is when you get the hockey level of Madra or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I love... That was all within Jedi Show's calculations, and it was still just a broom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, so they... Yeah, it kind of ends this section with him just being like, you know, there's no way he could do anything. Like, we're all good, and like...
Yeah, it's like if the broom's sort of like a normal broom, him like hockeying it up isn't gonna you know, do much of anything considering it's sort of like an ordinary broom. It's not like a special, you know, it's not like it's being powered or anything.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, Ethan's
it's not like
just...
the spear.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Ethan's just being, like, arrogant and, like, whatever.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of hesitation there where he's like, Is he just being...
He was just speaking out of pride, that was all. Just pride.
Yeah. a little nervous.
Yep.
And then we cut back to Lyndon.
Yep.
Who's, looking for Orthos.
Yep. Yeah, because he kind of wants, he wants to see if he can use, like, Orthos against,
yes, again.
He's just like, if I just, like, run in and, like, see, get them to fight.
If I can just sick a mad turtle dragon on them, that'll solve his problem pretty well.
Like, at least we'll distract, like, from me, and I can get out of here.
Yeah.
And, he feels, upset at himself for leaving Yerin, to, like, fight on her own, or whatever.
It's like, yeah, but Yerin kicked you aside in order for you to do this, so...
Yeah. And, so he tries to hide in the ruler trial, and then he gets, like, attacked by Gakrin. Like, some of the venom Madra or whatever, like, through his calf.
Yeah. He's got that same kind of iron body that they do.
Yep. Yeah, and then Lyndon tries to appeal to Gakrin.
Yeah, it's like, my name is Weishi Lyndon, honored true Gohan. As you can see, I am only a jade, and surely I have nothing to interest an elder of your caliber.
Sand Viper Gakrin, he growled. Krall's father.
And it's like, no. Okay, well.
He's like, well, there's not much I can do, and he just gets, like, attacked by a lot of poison and such, and Gakrin was shouting something, face purple with rage, but Lyndon didn't hear a word of it, and he's just getting, like, attacked and such.
And then Orthos comes in and hits Gakrin like a landslide, apparently. Yep.
And then we don't see most of that, like, fight. We just, Lyndon is, like...
Oh, yeah, because Lyndon falls unconscious for a little bit.
Yeah, so his iron body is, like, healing him and stuff.
But it's also, like, draining all of his Madra at the same time.
Yeah, so then he wakes up and he's, like, basically unable to move, and he's still, like, partially injured, but, like, he has, like, 0 Madra. He's completely run out of Madra.
Yeah.
And it, like... it's like no color. The world was gray and lifeless. His limbs now trembled with creeping cold.
His core was drained. Drained?
Haha, it's not just me.
Yeah, his core was drained, but he could fix that by cycling. Yeah, so he's like, he now knows what it's like to be completely, like, fucking wrung out power-wise, which is something that he had wondered earlier whenever it was like, oh, I could train as long as my, body will allow me, as long as I have pure Madra and whatnot. Because that was also this book, right?
Yeah.
They first started wondering that. Yeah, it's like these things that are kind of like payoffs for earlier things in the book, but I've just like kind of forgotten them because of like because of the gap in time and stuff. So I think partially it's like because these books are so fast paced, having these like breaks has like more of an impact than I kind of like expect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he tries to like rush, like go through his pack, and he's like, he has to take stock, and then he like it like falls all over the place or whatever, and then he's like, I just need to put everything back in its spot. He can barely think, and he's just like, everything needs to go back. And just like, in his hazy awareness, Lyndon could only latch onto one thought. He had to put everything back where it's supposed to go. He's trying to keep his path manual out of the dirt and everything.
Yeah.
Without Madra, his arm might as well have been a dish rag. He was empty. And so then he like sees Suriel's marble and is like, all right, I can do this. All right, let's go. You know, like she's like
it's like
she didn't say I'd die here, so I'ma do it.
Because Suriel's marble acts as like motivation for him a lot of the times because it's like reminding him like what he's like fighting for and all that.
And it's like, well, she thought I could do it. And we've been in Suriel's point of view, and she's like, he has basically no chance, but good for him. This is so exciting. And I love it.
But he's like, she believes in me.
She's like, wow.
and she's like, yeah, for sure. Cereal off in the distance. Bowl of cereal. That was a joke that we were making.
because I said cereal, but I said it very much like cereal.
And so then I was like, has anyone made an image where they've just like, because like I asked like, do we have any like official art of cereal?
I think we,
because like I know they did the like little animated kind of thing, because they made like a little animated like trailer essentially for Cradle, and so I'm like, someone needs to just like edit a thing where it's like a bowl of cereal instead of a bowl of cereal, and just like fill it with the fucking official art of cereal.
So they think this is from the like official animated like thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, looks about right. Just get a bunch of copies of her and put them in a bowl of cereal. But yeah, so
there's like the razor.
Yeah, so like he's thinking about cereal and the little bead or whatever. And then he gets the sort of motivation to keep going. So he starts like cycling a little bit, and he starts cycling some Blackflame because he's like, well, I can't really do much with pure Madra. I need some Blackflame, so let's try and do that. And then as he's doing that, Orthos has his paw on top of him. He like looks up, and Orthos is on top of him, and he's got his not paw, but whatever, his hand. Foot. his front foot, one of his front feet. I guess.
It's just like staring at him or whatever. And that's the end of the chapter.
Oh, so it just sort of ends with
Orthos just like over top of him.
Gotcha. Chapter 19.
Yeah, so we go to Yerin.
Yeah, we're back with Yerin and Jailong's fight right now.
A lot of this is just like a big fight.
Yeah, just like a lot of sort of, fight writing. Where it's more about the actual reading it than just like hearing hearing it explained out,
And this is also kind of when Yerin, like, she's kind of at the end of her ropes. Like, she used a lot of Madra and like all that against Orthos, was like super exhausted, and then now he's in this fight, and then
and she's like low gold and he's true gold at this point. So there's also like that disparity on top of her being wiped out from like the earlier fight.
He He might be, like, at the peak of high gold.
Gotcha. I thought that he had reached true gold by this point.
Yeah, so then maybe it is true. Maybe I'm just being crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters too much, the specifics. But he is a higher advancement than she is.
Yeah.
As well as her being wiped out from the fight earlier with Orthos.
He is true gold. I was just being being crazy for a second.
Yeah, you were just in that space where like I have to go and find where it says. Yeah. But yeah, so they're fighting, and then like she's getting her ass beat.
Yeah, and then kind of the whole time she's like, "Give me something," like to her master's remnant, like. They give me something or whatever, and it's like it doesn't have any other advice, just like attack.
Yeah,
just a few wispy memories of running straight at an enemy, weapons and techniques primed and ready. And then she feels her uninvited guest, and it's like, well, I could
release
that really wants to be used. I could use that, but that would be way worse. If she unleashed it, it could save her. If she released it, she could save herself. As always, she reminded herself what would happen if she released her guest. Unless Ethan popped out of the ground, her guest would destroy everything, and everyone, probably including her. Unless it hollowed her out and used her as a husk, which was worse.
Right. Yep, and so she's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And the only real kind of option for her is to finally
use the remnant.
And we were talking about this a lot yesterday because it's like looking back on it, it's like all the pieces are there.
Yeah.
I feel like all the pieces are there for her to like finally be at a place where she can like use her master's remnant. But something about the scene itself, when she does it, I feel like didn't quite hit emotionally for me as much as it could have. And I feel like it maybe just is sort of like a prose thing. Yeah. Sort of like how it's described just didn't hit, and it's just kind of like a personal thing. Part of me almost wishes that like it happened with like the Orthos fight when she like kind of realizes that like Ethan has really like sort of like her ability to trust Ethan and sort of informs why she's able to like finally
like kind of let go
of her old master because she has this sort of like new teacher who she actually like trusts and believes will do well. And it's like I feel like that's definitely like a part of it, but the fact that it almost sort of feels like, well, this is just kind of something that I have to do in order to not die now. Yeah, it is still dramatic, just I think in a different way. Like, it just would have hit more for me if it was a little different. Yeah. But it's still, like, all the pieces are, like, there. Yeah. As to, like, why now is the time that she's finally able to, like, kind of, like, let it go. Yeah. So, yeah. I just remember at the time just kind of being like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it is really sudden. Yeah. Like, I do get that. Like, because it did hit for me, like, emotionally. Like, I didn't like cry or anything, but I did I like felt it emotionally, but it was very sudden. It's like, oh damn, like it should like
I feel like I felt the emotional a bit more later, because after she does it, we get like a little flashback.
Yes, so that's the kind of best part about this whole like bit. She reaches like takes the power and like kind of like crushes it. It's like crushes it with her will, it says, or whatever. And like she like starts advancing, and she gets this memory from her like master's remnant of like the day that they like met from his point of view. Right. Because like she doesn't have great memories of it in general and stuff. And
yeah, because she's got this like parasite in her.
Yeah, and I can read like some of it. Right. I don't want to read all of it because it's like these big sections or whatever. But I'll read this little bit here. She hauled on a rope of blood madra that stretched from her stomach as though the far end was tied to a runaway horse. Her bare feet were planted, her teeth gritted, arms straining against the power of the parasite, which stretched out, its end forming into a blade, trying to cut him. She had managed to halt it while the blade was still an inch from his throat. He could defend himself from this weapon, the seed of a true blood shadow, with only a fraction of his madra. He was in no danger. But she didn't know that, and she forced her body to its limits, muscles straining, blood running from from the lip she was biting, to keep the parasite from stretching any closer to him.
Yeah, and it's like, he was a stranger to her, but she's still fighting with everything she can to try and keep this thing from hurting him. And so he is very sort of like endeared by that. The fact that she despite this thing, like, destroying her, is worried about, like, it hurting other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that she's, like, putting so much, like, into, like, like, fighting this
thing off.
Yeah.
See, you know, Yerin, Queen of Kindness. It's that's why.
Yep. Yeah, and also there's the blood shadow had already consumed everyone she knew, and all that.
Yeah, because we finally get, like, a name for her uninvited guest.
Yes, the blood shadow.
The blood shadow.
I shall now call it blood shadow.
Yeah, and it's a fraction of a dread god.
Yes, that's the last line. And the fragment of a dread god was no easy.
Yeah, and we don't quite know what that means, but also we know that it's a fragment of a dread god, but it's also described as, like, a seed.
Yeah.
Seed of a blood shadow?
Yeah, like a seed of a blood shadow, a piece of a dread god.
Yeah.
Is,
yeah. So that's interesting, whatever that means.
Yeah.
It's because she's Naruto. She's Naruto, she's got Kyubey inside of her, the blood shadow, you know. Or I guess she's Gaara, kind of.
Yeah.
Because Gaara had a bit more of that, like, you know, at least early on, this, like, I'm gonna kill everyone because of this thing inside of me.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Which, because Naruto's thing was pretty well sealed.
Yeah.
And wasn't really, like, you know, causing him to lash out or anything.
It was.
It was?
Yeah. That did happen towards a couple different times and stuff. Because it, like, came undone, and then they had to redo it, and then it, like, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then he, like, used it on purpose. Because that's how we did the multiple tails. Like, you would do the one tail, and then, like, he'd have, like, 2 and 3, and, like, the more tails he'd have, the more, like, the less control he'd have over himself.
Right, I forgot about that. Because I just remember him getting thrown into that chasm.
Yeah.
And, like, making the deal with Kurama.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about all the other specifics. I keep making... It's like, I need to stop, because it's like... I only remember so much of Naruto, actually.
Yeah.
So I need to stop just, like, saying things about Naruto.
But it does have a lot of similarities.
It does.
I do get you.
Yeah. So it's just, like... Yeah. It's, like, I've forgotten so much about Naruto, and also there's a bunch of Naruto that I never even, like, got to.
Yeah.
So it's, like, sometimes the comparison is apt, and sometimes it's, like... no, you're just misremembering Naruto.
Yeah, it's a long show.
It is. It's quite long.
But...
It's Jai long.
That's great. Yeah, so I think that's the like memory and everything.
Yeah. And so she advances because she finally takes the remnant, and so then she goes from low gold to high gold?
Yes.
By doing that?
Yes.
And so, like, she advances, which, you know, whenever you level up, you know, full heal. And
there is still a little bit left of this memory.
Yeah.
I forgot about, because he was supposed to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
He had come to kill her, but here was a child who stood against a dread god's mantra. She had a power of own. Yeah, because that's the parasite, like, chose her because she's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, the parasite would have chosen someone older and enough resolve to keep on fighting, even when the battle was lost. Yeah.
Yeah. She had power of her own. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder if she's got any special bullshit going on besides that. Why it, like, chose her, if it's just sort of a generic, like, she's strong.
They've talked about, like, she's a prodigy and stuff. And she was already seen as a prodigy, like, before, like, this all happened.
Yeah, because, like, how old is she when this is happening?
Like 8. Well, they think about, like, 7 or 8.
Gotcha.
But she's not sure.
Gotcha. That's wild. Because, like, my niece is almost 7.
And my niece is 7.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she's like, I don't want to wash my hands.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, trying to imagine.
I'm lifting my niece onto the tree, and she's worried about the swing hitting her head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's because we're all from Sacred Valley, and we're not from the Outer Wilds and shit.
Yeah. And she, like, kind of has this feeling about, like, just, like, thinking about the memory and stuff, and just, like, just this bit of her master or whatever. He had chosen her because she fought to the last breath, because when backed into a corner and given no path to victory, she would still attack.
The path of the endless sword had no defense. Sword aura could not shield her. It could only cut.
Yeah. And so then, like, she, like, fully advances, and there's sword aura just shooting everywhere, and Jailong is just waiting. He wants a good fight, and is just, like, chilling.
Yeah, he's doing the classic anime thing. Exactly. He's got to let her finish her power up before he can,
He's like, I got it. Like, I've fought plenty of... Because he's true gold, so he's still a higher advancement than her at high gold.
Right.
And he's fought plenty of high golds, and he's not concerned of to deal with a newly advanced high gold.
Yeah, it'd be dishonorable to attack while she is advancing,
Yep. And it's because it's a bit, because I like this line from him because it's very he's been feeling horrible about himself, like attacking like innocent people and just like just like killing people in their sleep, basically, just like all this stuff or whatever. So then he has this line of Yerin goes, "Thanks for waiting. I need an opponent," he said, "not a victim."
Yeah.
And so it's just very like it's like, I need like fight back. Like, I need to have like a
real fight with you,
instead of just like I'm just executing another person,
Right. Yeah. And then she gets a second blade arm.
Yeah.
Her second gold sign.
Now she has 2 sticking out of her back.
Well, blades.
Yep.
It makes me think of like very bug, very insecty.
Yeah.
Like,
almost spidery.
Yeah, or like right now because there's just 2, it's like mantis, like a praying mantis kind of arms,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I figure she's gonna get more. I feel like I've seen you show me art of her with more way back in the day.
I don't know what you're talking
about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the remnant that she has 6 blade arms.
Right, so it's like I imagine that in the end she'll have 6, or maybe she'll get more than that, even. But I figure if, the remnant had 6, and there's a good chance that she'll end up with more.
Yep. And so then she like starts fighting again with the like newly advanced or whatever, and she thinks about her steelborn iron body. It grows with you, he said. Our body enforcement techniques aren't worth a chip of rust, see? So you need a body that enforces itself. You won't notice it at first, but it'll be sharper every stage. For the first time, Yerin could feel the gift her master had left her.
Yep. Yeah.
So then we go to Jailong's perspective of the fight. And he is shocked and confused and like, you're just a high gold. I've fought plenty like this. This is dumb. Why are you like this?
Why are you so strong?
Like, this is stupid. Like, she just launched him across like to another mountain, and he's like, why?
I just like to, it's like, fuck you, this is bullshit. How dare you fucking... What the fuck? It's not fair. Hacks.
Yeah. Jailong had fought dozens, if not hundreds, of high goats, and it wasn't that her spirit was so much stronger than usual. It's just like she's just
sheer physical strength.
Yep, straight up. It's he was still ahead or whatever. Like, but they should be. He was a true gold. He shouldn't feel any pressure from her attacks, but he did. And he's like, and I advanced a whole bunch, like, in these 6 months, I advanced a whole bunch, but she's still right behind me, that's ridiculous.
Yep, yeah. So she just advanced now. It's like when you first advance, you're feeling all good and shit, but, like, come on, this is ridiculous.
Yep, and so then he realizes, like, oh, she's actually dangerous. And it's like fear crawled up his spine, and for the first time, he focused his full power. He had to kill her now. If he didn't, then the next time they met, she would kill him.
Nah, buddy. It's gonna be London who's gonna kill your ass. Or you're gonna end up becoming a friend. Either we're still gonna kill your ass, or you're gonna end up becoming a friend. I could still see it going either way, especially with how things go later on in this book, So I'm like, what's gonna happen here? Yeah,
and then I think she ends up, she gets like a hit off with her like gold sign and stuff. Because it like attacks from behind, and she's like pissed off.
Yeah, because it's like she can finally
use it to defend.
And like use it because it's like it can attack behind her, which is super, super nice.
Yeah, and she, like, gets super pissed off that he, like, comes around behind her and tries to attack. And she, like, defends, and then, like, that's when she launches him, like, to another mountain.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is when he eats her attack.
Oh, right, yeah, because he's got a curry.
Yeah. With his mouth.
Because we finally find out what his fucking gold sign is, because his gold sign that makes him all ugly, it's that it gives him fucking crazy crazy teeth.
Yeah, his jaw unhinged like a snake's, tearing the red bandages away from his face. He bared a mouthful of glowing white fangs. They twisted his face, reshaping his jaw, and anytime he opened his mouth, he looked like a nightmare. Mm-hmm. And then he, like, bit down on the attack. And, like, yeah.
There's something in particular that I'm thinking of. There's, like, a character, I think from, like, Mortal Kombat or something, who has, like, fucking the big teeth.
This also reminded me of Orochimaru.
Yeah.
Because he's, like, snake, you know.
Yeah, because he's all snaky and shit.
And his mouth, he does the whole, like, unhinged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's, Melina?
Oh, yeah.
Mileena.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. That's wild.
Yeah, because she normally has, like, a ninja, like, mask thing. I don't know a ton about Mortal Kombat, but Dodger, back when Dodger, yeah. Just looking at Orochimaru here.
Yeah.
Back when Dodger was playing a bunch of, like, visual novels and stuff, but she doesn't, I don't think, play those quite as much anymore. I mean, maybe she does, I haven't been keeping up. But, like, a big part of the reason why I watched Dodger so much back in the day was because they would, like, do a bunch of, like, visual novels and stuff and do voices. And I remember that she was playing a game where you're, like, the girl that you're, like, romancing in this visual novel is, like, a cyclops.
Got you.
and she was saying that, like, apparently this studio whatever is making, like, a bunch of these games with, like, different, like, kind of monster girl sort of things.
Right.
And she's like, one of them has Melina mouth, was how she kept describing it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? And so it's like, you know.
Yep.
Now it comes to mind here. Yeah, and it also very much makes me think of Katakuri.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's this prodigy. Yep. He hides his fucked up mouth.
Yep.
You know, with the sharp teeth and the, like, overly wide mouth and all that jazz. And just, yeah, I was like, it's Katakuri.
Yeah.
I guess spoilers for Whole Cake.
Yeah.
I guess that's technically a spoiler for Katakuri because the whole, like, him hiding his face thing is, like, a thing for a while. But yeah, and so he eats her attack.
Yep, and then he kind of realizes, like, Yerin's ready to keep fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And he's feeling like the tide is turning for the rest of the battle and stuff like that, and, like, he feels like he could, like, eventually win, but, like, you know, it's
but,
like,
he needs to be able to, like, help
the clan or whatever. He's like, the Jai clan had lost a battle in their own city, but as much as it pained him, he was part of the plan. Okay, anyway, he was part of the clan again. God.
Yeah, his oath tugged at him, pulling him to the responsible thing to preserve himself for the family's sake. Right, because the oath that he took.
Yes. Yep.
He feels it, like, sort of pulling him in the direction of the clan, because that's sort of more what I guess Jai Daisho would want him to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
I just could not speak there.
We're struggling there. You've been having it's not been a good reading day.
I keep trying to read it too fast, and then it doesn't work.
You kept trying to put, like, a hat in there that wasn't there.
I read, like, basically full sentences and paragraphs at a time.
That makes no sense to me.
I try and slow myself down and read word by word, especially when, like, I'm reading something out loud. But I have a really hard time. I'll, like, rush through and I've read the entire sentence, and so then I jumble up my words.
I, like, can't comprehend the idea of reading the whole sentence at one time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to my brain. I'm like, but that's not how reading happens. You read one word at a time. That's what it means to read a thing. Yeah. So it's just kind of funny. Because I also, like, do that. I also get jumbled up like that. Yep. But it's just funny.
Yeah, but I just,
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Jailong runs off.
Yeah. Yeah, so he runs off, and then we go back to Yerin's point of view, and she goes, "Get back here, you!" to Jailong.
Yep, she's all, like, fucking drained. She's like, "Get back here, you!"
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah. Yeah, and then she kind of, like, falls over and is like, you know, the adrenaline is worn off, you know, the battle and all of that's done and all that, and she Her brief burst of clarity and insight was already fading away like a dream. There was more to gain from the remnant, but that sense of his presence had gone, leaving only a memory. She was exhausted in body, mind, and spirit, and saying goodbye to the Sword Sage a second time struck her like a physical wound. His absence tore through her, and there on the mountain, she wept again for her master's death.
Yeah.
And so that's just a little...
Yeah, it's like she gets to, like, actually, like, emotionally process her moment. Because I think it's like she didn't get to do it at the time that she was doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's also maybe
part it's like not until like after the
fact that she actually gets to like process it or whatever.
Yeah, she was never really able to process at the time, like when her master died and everything, because she was like on the run and like she's
Yep, she was still being like hounded by the Sacred Valley people, and then she was
running
off
with
Linden,
and then all that,
running off with Linden and not thinking about it and thinking about Linden instead. Just like I'm just gonna help this baby squirrel and not think about
the fact that I'm like on my own.
Yep. What if I took care of this pet instead of grieving?
Yep. Yep. And so then we move to Linden. And Orthos is pouring like a bunch of Madra into Linden, and he's getting overwhelmed, and so he's trying to like push Orthos off because he thinks he's being attacked at first, and he can't quite tell.
Yeah.
And so then he's just getting too much Blackflame that he can't like control it. So then he
he's like he feels his fucking soul ripping out of his body almost.
Yep.
Is this what it's like to leave a remnant?
Yep. And so like he's like screaming and like trying to like cycle as much of it as he can to like absorb it and all of that. And there's really nothing he can do. And so he eventually grabs Little Blue.
Yep.
And she like uses her power or whatever, and it helps like bring that under control and stuff.
Yeah, with the power of the Sylvan River Seed, he's able to like take in that power from Orthos and advance to gold.
Yeah.
Yep, he's able to advance to low gold.
Yep. Yeah, and he doesn't even realize it because like this happens, and then Gokran stumbles in after fighting with like Orthos and stuff. Like it's basically immediate. He like advances, and then he's like, Gokran, fuck.
Gokran, fuck. Destroy.
Yep. And so like there's also 4 other Sand Vipers with Gokran. They're all high golds, I think.
That sounds about right.
And he goes, Linden's spirits fell like a sack of bricks. It just wasn't fair. Suriel was playing a trick on him. Surely every mortal's trials had to end sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he didn't have a shell to use to like to do the technique, but he does it anyway. And like he gets a technique and he like pulls it all together and like thinks it's gonna be like a nothing technique and lets it go, and he cuts Gokran in half.
Yeah, this is what I mean by poor Gokran. Like, Gokran really doesn't get a chance to do much, besides just, like, he helps Jailong, but this is mostly about Jailong's thing, and then Jailong spares him, and then he goes and fights Linden, but then he mostly just has to fight this giant turtle, and then get immediately killed by the guy who killed his son. And it's just
actually Orthos with the ruler technique.
Oh, Orthos?
Yeah, Linden cuts his hand off immediately, and then it makes him, like, flinch and stuff when Orthos does his attack later.
Yeah, because you said, like, cut him in half.
Yeah, that was...
Incorrect.
He just slices his arm off.
Gotcha. And then that just, like, has him distracted when Orthos does his big old Void Dragon dance.
Yeah, and then that takes out all of them, Gokran and the 4 that were there.
Gotcha, so Orthos is the one who kind of takes them out.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, poor Gokran.
Yeah, it's really sad. And then, like, Orthos eats him.
I did not remember that at all.
It's funny that because you reacted when it happened. You were like, oh...
Yeah.
Because it just, like, says that Orthos, like, swallowed, like, down his gullet or something like that. And you're just like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah. I totally forgot about it. It's so funny. Yeah. That I, like, had such a reaction to it and then completely forgot it. It's like, well, anyway.
I figured you were going to bring it up because you,
Yeah, no, I totally forgot about that because Gokran just, like, isn't important, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's
I feel like I wish we had... I fish? See, I wish Gokran had gotten to be a little more important. A little bit more, like, involved. like he was always kind of like just like a side character for Jai Long, but like I wish that he had gotten just like a little bit more to like do.
I think this series gets better and better at its side characters and it's like villains and antagonists and all of that. Like they all kind of yeah. Because like we get a lot of Jai Long, but like we don't get a lot of Jai Daisho, Crawl, or Gakren. Like any.
Yeah, because it's like Jai Daisho just kind of like shows up. I mean, like we do see him whenever we like come to the city and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like.
And we hear of him from Jai Long.
Right, but it just sort of feels like I wasn't expecting Jai Daisho to like be the big bad of this book in the way that he is. And so I was just sort of like, this whole attack by the Jai family happens like so fast, and it's kind of over with so fast that it all kind of like
it's all pretty sudden.
It's all very sudden and just kind of like this big blur, and it didn't really have anything to do with like all the training stuff that we were doing, and so it all just kind of feels like, and then a bunch of stuff happens. Like I feel like this book has been a little bit like not. Like, I don't think it's been my favorite of the three. So far. But, like there's a lot of, like, interesting stuff in there. But just, like, how it all sort of, like, comes together.
I feel like it's, like, structurally maybe, like, a bit weaker.
Making
sleepy sounds.
Yeah, Holly's making little sleepy sounds. You probably can't hear them because she's too far away.
Anyway. She was just too cute. And God.
She's very distracting.
Yeah, so then after like this fight or whatever, Lyndon's like, how did I even do that? Like, his like Madra should have like resisted it like better. Like I shouldn't have been able to just like cut his like hand off like that. And like it's like 5 minutes later, Lyndon still didn't believe his own memories. First, the Madra obeyed him more easily than it ever had before. Then his technique worked like way better. You know, like all that. And he's, like, super confused, and Orthos is, you're not a Jade. I gave you more of my power than a Jade could handle. And Lyndon's like, I'm stronger, yeah, but I don't feel, like, different. Like, it's not nearly as big of a jump or whatever. And Orthos goes, humans make every stage into a legend. A low gold is just a Jade with teeth. The only difference between Jade and gold is a mountain of power. Now you see the real glory of Blackflame.
And he's like, yeah, I'm a gold. Time to go change my badge.
That's what that was. This is the...
Sandviper Gakren's legs, the largest remaining part of him, lay a few dozen yards away. His skull was sliding down Orthos's gullet.
Whenever, like, that line happened, you're like, oh.
He's like, oh. I guess he was just, fucking eating him. But Lyndon's a low gold now, a real gold.
Poor Gakren.
Poor Gakren. He deserved better than this.
But yeah, so then,
Her little
paw.
Her little paw, her little claw, just like scratch my arm a little bit. Not bad or anything.
And so then, Orthos is there, so Lyndon is like, I have both the River Seed and Orthos in the same area. Finally.
Finally, both at once.
And so he brings up Little Blue and like asks her to use her power or whatever. And Orthos shouted like a man doused in icy water.
The insect stung me.
I love that little line. The insect stung me. And then I think they need to do it a few more times, like use a little bit more.
Yeah, because the river seed gets like kind of like worn out. It's like, please, you just gotta a little bit more, and so like they need to like feed the river seed a little bit more. And it do its thing to Orthos a little bit more.
And then I love you should feel a little better at least. I have survived 300 winters in the fall of the Black Flames. I would have survived this.
Sure thing, buddy. Pat, pat, pat.
Exactly. And then they go to find Yerin.
And the Sylvan River Seed's riding on his head. And that's it for chapter 19? Yeah. Chapter 20.
Chapter 20. This is a good fight and like fun to read, but most of this is fight. It's Jai Daisho versus Athan. And technically there's like 6 other...
Jai Elders there or whatever. But it just starts with Jai Daisho is living a nightmare. And that's basically what you need to know about the beginning of this chapter.
The biggest thing is like Athan keeps popping in and out of the boundary field, like...
Which he should not be able to do.
And so like Jai Daisho's trying to figure out like how is he even doing that? That like only Madra can go through, like, not physical things. And so, like, he's like, how is he even doing this? And so then he's like, well, the only thing that, like, he could do is he could be covering his body in a shell of Madra. But that would be crazy. But it would be easier to forge a human-sized ball and roll through. The amount of power it would take to slip in and out while covering every inch of his body would beggar even an Underlord. And Jaida shows, like, he could do it, like, himself once. But, like, not hopping in and out of the boundary field over and over again. Like, it's just, like, a ridiculous waste of Madra.
I keep, like, inhaling a little bit of water or spit and coughing, which is annoying. Sorry about that. Just... Yeah. Coughing there. But we know that, like, part of Ethan's whole thing, at least whenever he was talking to Lyndon, was having tons and tons and tons of Madra.
Yep.
Being like, you know, what if you just had so much you never ran out?
Yep.
And so it's like, yeah, no, Ethan's probably, that's like his big focus.
Yep. Yeah, so he's like jumping in and out. He basically just keeps popping out of the boundary, killing one of the elders, popping back in, popping out, pulling one into the boundary, you know, like just over and over. And
just some real Looney Tune shit.
Yeah. And Jai Daisho's trying to figure out, like, what's happening, what can he do? And so then he tries to do this big attack. He's like, well, I don't need this mountainside anyway. He's like, actually, he thinks that. And then he does, like, this huge attack of, like, a bunch of, like, spear Madra or whatever, and, like, blows up, like, half the mountain.
Yeah.
And Ethan is fine-ish. He's cut up a little bit or whatever. Like, Jai Daisho expects this to, like, kill him. And then Ethan, because, like, he used a lot of Madra for it.
Right.
And then Ethan is like,
fine.
Like, he's blood trickling down into one eye, and a slash across his left shoulder. And his robe is shredded, which I'm sure he was more upset about than
the rest of it.
Than the rest of it.
Yeah, he had escaped, and that was frightening enough.
Yeah. And then he tries to do another attack, and it, like, just dissipates. Like, when it comes into, like a foot in front of Ethan's hand, it just dissipates. Like, wiping out the technique. And
he's cleaning it.
Yeah, yep.
He's cleaning it away.
Yep. And Jai Daisho is upset about the weapon he's using, like, but Jai Daisho was using a legendary weapon forged by his ancestor. Ethan was using a broom.
Yep.
And they're going back and forth, and Jai Daisho finally realizes that Ethan is using pure Madra. Like, throughout this fight, he finally is like, pure Madra?
Who uses pure Madra? It has its uses.
Now Jai Daisho had to make it out alive. He'd read a dozen theories about the mysterious Ethan Aurelius path, and all of them were wrong. Yeah,
and he's like, I gotta get this information back to the clan, and so that we can use it to bring down the Aurelius family, now that we have, like, more information on them. But Ethan's like, what if I just fucking killed your ass?
Yep. Yeah, and then they're...
And talking about, like, using pure Madra for these things would be, like, the least efficient way possible.
Yep. Yeah, he must be gushing Madra into that broom just to keep it from exploding. And so then they keep, like, fighting back and forth, and then Ethan finally pulls out some scissors and starts fighting with these iron scissors that has that he, like, used Soulfire on. And Jai Daisho is just like, well, they're ordinary, like, I should be able to cut through it, like, anyway, or whatever. And so he, like, attempts to cut through it, and, like,
nope,
it just doesn't. And
then he just is able to use the scissors to cut through
to his attack. Yep. And then Ethan's like, close one, and then just comes up and is Jai Daisho was like, even using Soulfire, it was impossible to enforce ordinary iron to that degree using pure Madra. Impossible. It would empty Jai Daisho's core 3 times over. Tell me how. And then black scissors met his throat, and the pain blasted away his enforcer technique. Time staggered back into focus. I'll tell you, Remnant.
Yep.
Ethan.
Yep. And then we cut away back to Lyndon.
Yep. He because Lyndon was going to go look for him, so he went and found Ethan. And Ethan, or like, Lyndon's like, "Are you hurt?" And it's like, "I'm taking a break and enjoying the brisk night air. You look like you were beaten with cloves while climbing through an erupting volcano."
Yeah. Lyndon's. I mean, they've all been through it. These last few chapters.
Yep. Yeah, and so then they see, like, some Skysworn, like, off in the distance or whatever, and Lyndon's like, are they gonna attack? And Ethan's like, not with what I just did. They won't attack. And, so then they, couldn't say if any Skysworn were watching, but I suspect any ranking among Underlords is about to be adjusted.
Yeah.
And then Little Blue has a little, like, tries to heal him, but Ethan's like, no, you can't do anything for me, or whatever. It's just sweet, because Little Blue's trying to help him out.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Little Blue is cute.
Yeah.
And just, like, all helpful friend.
Yeah, she's just sweet.
I'm expecting Little Blue to become less little over time, and to be, like, a full-on, like, person. But Little Blue could just stay a little tiny fairy forever, as far as I know. But I still think will become, like, a person that they can, like, talk to or something. Yeah. Or will in some way have, like, personality. Yeah. Even if it never ends up, like, being able to, like, talk or anything. It's like, Little Blue's going to be a character.
A character, yeah.
But I'm, like, unsure whether or not she's going to stay tiny or become, like, full-sized person.
Yep. And,
I just had, like, this image in my head of, like, Little Blue as, like, a full-size person just sucking on, like, fucking Ethan's, like, head. Or not Ethan, Lyndon, just like, because Lyndon's like feeding her pure Madra, and so she's just like, fucking like Kirby, just like, just like on top of his head.
That's great.
Yeah.
I need that fan art now. And so now Lyndon gets to know what Ethan's, like, path is, or whatever. Ethan says, like, you know, that was my cycling technique, the Heaven and Earth... the
purification wheel.
Yeah, and I use pure Madra, and, like, Lyndon's like, oh, okay, that makes some more sense as to, like, why you, like, chose me and stuff.
Yeah.
And, Ethan has his veil, like, down or whatever, so he can feel the type of Madra.
Pure Madra paths aren't as rare as everyone seems to think they are.
Yeah. And then, so, Ethan's like, yeah, there's, like, 2 reasons why I picked you up. Like, one, like, the pure Madra or whatever, and the other is the
little cereal marble.
Yeah, the cereal marble. He's like, I, like, saw it, like, Lyndon goes, do you know what this is? And he said, I wasn't sure at first. Not everything that blocks my senses is from the heavens. And then he pulled out his own glass of marble the size of a thumbnail, and yours looks somewhat different than mine.
And his is, like, dark.
Yep. Inside the hollow shell was a ball of perfectly round darkness. It looked endlessly deep, like a bottomless hole suspended in glass.
I'm just, like, assuming, like, off the bat, I'm like, Azrael. Yeah. Azrael gave this to him. Yeah. Because, like, he's, like, the Reaper or whatever, and so the idea that it'd be, like, darkness black or whatever... and also Azrael's just the only other one of these people that we really kind of, like, know about. Yeah. Because, like, Suriel talked to, like, some other person, but I don't remember.
Talked to Gadriel, and I think we'll have another section with Suriel next chapter where we will talk about that, because I think she talks to someone there. Yeah. But I think the only other one that we have talked to is Gadriel.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I guess it could be like him or something, you know, my immediate assumption is the only other important one of these kinds of people that we really know about, which is Azrael. So I'm like, maybe that's, you know, what this is about.
It's, maybe they're like coins. This could be the celestial equivalent of tossing a scale to a servant.
And it's like, well, we'll have to, you know, trade stories about how we got these once, you know, things have calmed down a little bit.
I also love, Lyndon had so many questions that they all tried to exit his mouth at once. They came out together, so they sounded like, blah.
Blah. Which...
The way that Travis Baldry did that in the audiobook was great.
Was so good. Like, I went back and, like, re-listened to it, like, a couple of times. Just like, but they all came out at once. So it was like, blah.
And then Ethan nodded as though that was exactly the question he'd expected.
Yes, precisely. Exactly. See, Ethan would understand us, and you know, that's all you can really ever ask for. I love Ethan and Lyndon and their little interactions. Yeah, and they're always fun to see, like, bounce off of each other.
They're very fun. So then he gives Lyndon, like, a big, like, crust for the Aurelius family, and tells him to go run an errand to go check on Jai Chen. Because she's being held by the Jai clan right now.
Right.
And he's like, should I bring her back here? That's Jailong's sister, held captive by the Underlord to ensure his cooperation. In all the confusion, I'm afraid she's been left alone. Really? Blackflame surged in him. That. When you are stopped by Jai clan members, show them the emblem, look at them straight in the eyes, and do that. If they don't listen to you, I'll come kill them.
Yep.
And Lyndon's like, well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't need a remnant to have a gold sign.
Yeah.
Because he's gold now, so he has a gold sign. And
yep.
It's his crazy fucked up eyes,
yep.
seemingly.
Yeah, like black eyes with like red irises.
Yep. Yep, he's got them fucking crazy full eye contacts in.
Yep.
Good luck cosplaying Linda now, fuckers.
Yep. So then we move to
Jai Chen.
Yeah,
which it's nice getting to have a little bit of Jai Chen and like her like perspective, which is very sad.
It's very sad. She like can't move. She's very weak. Has a hard time breathing. Like you know, and like she also feels horrible that she feels like she's being used against Jai Long, and so then like she thinks she thought about killing herself so that she wouldn't be held against, you know.
Yeah, and be like used as like a pawn against Jai Long and all that.
Right. And so then like so she's like, but it wouldn't change anything. Jai Daisho was an underlord and he would get what he wanted with or without a hostage.
Yeah.
And so like she's trying to like cycle and trying to control her Madra, but like the remnant that like attacked her or whatever, it like made her Madra like move without her controlling it, and so it's like really hard to mess with.
Yeah.
And then the door of her room dissolves. It dissolves in black fire. And there's like a giant shadow outside the room, and then Lyndon walks in, and she sees his eyes,
and it's just like
and is like, yeah, a man stood in her room, and he had eyes like a death remnant. They were black all around, with rings of blood red shining in the center. With those eyes, he could be nothing but a monster, come to kill her. And Black Flyer still played around his fingers. Black Flyer.
Yeah, you're having a hard time.
Yep. Yeah, so then she's like holding a knife up and is trying to like, you know, like shakily holding that up.
And then, of course, the man bowed at the waist. Forgiveness, please. I thought you were deeper in the house.
And then he, like, isn't using Blackflame anymore, so his eyes are normal. And so it's just, like, it's like, oh, he's just, like, a guy.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's, like, his gold sign isn't, like, a permanent thing.
Yep.
It only shows up when he's, like, using the stuff.
Yep.
Which is kind of funny. I think it'd be funnier if he just always had crazy fucked up eyes like that.
Yeah.
He's just... There's something funnier about him still just always being him and polite, but his eyes are just constantly in the state of fucked up black and redness.
Yep.
Yeah. No comment?
Yep.
Alrighty then.
I love a scary Lyndon. It's very fun.
Mm-hmm.
The polite scary Lyndon is just very very fun.
It's great.
Yeah, it's just like, he seemed like a perfectly normal sacred artist.
Mm-hmm.
Though he stared at her as if he never intended to blink. With his other eyes, the look would have given her nightmares. And he's like, I'm so sorry I frightened you, that wasn't my intention, I'm here to get you out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just, like, still terrified of his eyes, and he's like, what are you talking about? And looks into a mirror and doesn't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay.
Right, yeah.
And then she's like, maybe it's just his gold sign. And then she gets over it.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to get her to leave or whatever, and then she like falls out of the bed. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she tries to stab him, and then she falls.
Gotcha.
Or whatever. But it doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And then
he like sort of like looks. He like scans her spirit or whatever, and it's like, hey, what's
Yeah.
sorry about this, but what happened?
Yeah, what happened to your spirit?
Mm-hmm. And then that's how chapter 20 ends. Yep. Yeah, there's just sort of been like a lot of sort of action going on.
Yeah.
There's not been a lot to like necessarily like talk about, because it's mostly just sort of been like action, fighting, crazy kind of shit going on like that. But it's like we finally get to see Ethan, or like learning about Ethan's like pure Madra, and that like he's sort of like putting Lyndon on his path.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see...
Or at least partially.
Right, because, I mean, like, you know, the Black Flame's not part of it, but it's, like, it's interesting that, like, this whole dual path aspect of it, because, like, what's his other path going to be? But it is a pure Madra path. Yeah. And so now that we know that such a thing exists, it's like, you know, let's see.
You can do something with it, you know, there's, like, some techniques for it that, you know.
Yep, and it'll be exciting to see him, you know, train with Ethan in order to get better at that. And it's nice to see Jai Chen. I want more Jai Chen in general, because she's just like a sweetie.
She is. She's so sweet.
Yep, so that does it for chapter 20.
Yep.
Chapter 21.
Yeah, so we're still with Jai Chen, and so then she's
explaining about how the remnant got a hold of her and was feeding on her when Jai Long killed it and whatnot.
Yep, and telling him that, like, her channels and her core need to be repaired, like, needs, like, an expensive elixir, and then pure Madra for her core. Electra.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, actually, you know, maybe we got something for that.
Yep. So then Lyndon pulls out a
little blue.
And I also love this whole bit is from Jai Chen's perspective. So it's just so fun to see Lyndon from someone else's point of view like this.
I really enjoyed that. Just like Lyndon just showing up out of nowhere and being just like this weird guy who just shows up and it's like, oh, here you go.
Yeah, with this little remnant girl who like... Yeah.
Yep.
And he looks terrifying when he shows up.
And it's like, here, have this, and then just completely cures her in one fell swoop.
Yep. Yeah, so she comes up and then just, she goes, Jai Chen barely had time to grasp before the spirits, sorry, let's try that again. Jai Chen barely had time to gasp before the spirit slapped her on the cheek. It was like being slapped by a raindrop.
Very cute.
And then, like, the power starts to, like, go through her spirit, and, like, her Madra tried to squirm away, but it couldn't escape. The blue power slid through it. And where the tiny spirit's Azure power passed, she regained control of her Madra. So it, like, still slithers and moves, but she can control it. So it still seems like living, but she can, like,
because it's living in that way that, like, Jai Long's is, where he makes, like, living techniques, which is still interesting. Yeah. I feel like there's something, like, up with that. Something, like, weird about that. It's, like, your Madra's, like, its own separate creature now, which is weird.
Yeah. And so then...
squirming around inside you and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, does it have, like, life aura mixed in it or something? Like, what's the deal here?
Right.
Why are your attacks like this? Why is your Madra like this? What?
Yeah, it is, like, seen as weird and stuff. Yeah. It's not, like, super common.
Yeah, I'm just like, is there going to be an explanation for this? Or just say, someone was like that. Yeah, so... But it goes through and, like, heals her damage.
Yeah, so, like, it's, like, drills, like, connections where it's, like, broken and, like, fixes it. So, like, it does, like, a lot.
Yep.
And then, like, so they need, like, they use, like, 3 bits of it, or, like, 3 or 4 or whatever, like, of her power. She has to, like, keep doing it in order... for it to work.
Right, yeah. And then it's like, I'll feed you scales until you explode.
Yeah.
to Little Blue.
Yeah, and so then, like, once that's all done, he needs to, like, fill up her core with, like, Madra and stuff, and, like, fix that. So he goes, like, forgiveness, I only know how to do this as an attack.
and does the like, empty palm on her to, like, put pure Madra into her.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so then it worked. It, like, I think he did, like, 2, like, pulses or whatever, and it, like, it
courses through her and, like, helps her, and she's able to take her first full breath in years.
Yeah. And she's just, like, shocked, and, like, she can cycle, and she can, like, move. She, like, lifts her hand and is, like, shocked, and, like, you know.
Yep.
And Linda doesn't really know how big of a deal this is that he just did.
Yep. Yep, and she's just, like, fully, like, what the fuck?
Yep. Yeah, and then he just gets up. My name is Wei Shi Linden. I can leave you behind if you tell your brother what happened tonight. Will you do that? Linden, he repeated. Will you remember that? Do you want me to write it down?
Just like, hey, if you could put a word in with your brother for me. In writing, you write it down.
Wei Shi Linden, she said, and she didn't have to pause to gulp down air between each word. Yes, I will remember, and I'll tell him. Yeah, and then she's like, I'm a mess. I like my hair and like my clothes and like I'm a whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we're back in the real empire. Like appearances matter, all that.
Yep, I'm suddenly like whole again, and you know.
Yeah, and then they start being polite to each other. My name is Jai Chen. I've never hosted a guest, so I'm not sure what I can. But I don't want to be rude.
Also, I'm a prisoner here, so you're not. So he's not really your guest. Right. You're imprisoned here.
And so then he's like, nah, I gotta go. Like, I told the men outside I was on Aurelia's family business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then he's like looking at her core and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? Excuse me. I was looking at your core. This might be a rude question, but is your mantra alive?
Right? Because it's weird.
Yeah. Her mantra was still as animated as before, but this time it was on her side. Her spirit didn't fight her anymore. It was as almost if it fought for her, slithering along according to her cycling technique. It used to fight me. I think your remnant brought it under my control. Thank her for me.
Yeah. It's like, I wonder what level of advancement she's considered. Especially since, like, her system got all fucked up, and now that it's like been healed, do we know what level of advancement she is?
I don't think we do.
Yeah. Because I imagine that she's
I think this happened to her before she like took a remnant, so I think it
she'd be like Jade or lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, that she hadn't taken a remnant yet. So like, but like, I wonder if this is like, you know, because she has like the living Madra from the remnant doing that to her. So is she like almost gold now? Right. What's going on? You know.
Yep. And then also Lyndon, like, as he's leaving, he goes, this may sound terrible, but have we met before? If I've forgotten you, I apologize, but you seem familiar to me. Maybe I look like she's, like, thinking of her brother or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I've never seen his face. And,
did you kill young Master Crawl?
She asks him as he's leaving, and Lyndon stops, and he goes, it was a pleasure to meet you, Jai Chen. If I've done anything wrong or if you need help again, he patted the sleeping woman on his shoulder, then you can find me at the Aurelius family. I'm sorry for disturbing your night.
Yeah.
And it's like, what does he say to that, you know?
Right. Yeah, who does she look like?
I think she was thinking of Jailong.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like not the mouth.
Yeah, but like you don't see like any of his face.
Yeah, because that's why she stopped saying it, I think.
Yeah, but it's like he is like she looks familiar, right? Or is she like he looks familiar?
No, he's like she looks familiar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like who would she look like?
Yeah, I think this is talked about in like the serial section. They don't like say anything specific, but like she says like, oh, they would have met like further down their path. Like if things would have gone normally. We'll get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like maybe it's like he saw her during like Suriel's like vision quest thing that she did to him. Yeah, I gotcha. Could be. Yeah,
that was like that was what I thought like as I was reading it and stuff. And
gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, so then he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he uses his eyes again.
Yeah, on the like guards or whatever.
Yeah. And the old man flinched visibly. Jai Chen could understand. If his eyes had turned black and red again, the elder could be forgiven for thinking he was a death remnant in human skin.
Yeah. Death remnant, which is interesting because it's like, you know, remnants are already made when a thing dies. So like, what's a death remnant?
Yeah.
It's full of death aura. But like, what's, you know, death aura, death Madra feels like it'd be very similar to like destruction. Madra, you know. I cast death on you. Power word kill. Finger of death.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lyndon bows out.
Yep. And he's got Orthos with him, so he's just, you know,
just got a giant dragon turtle.
Yep. And I think he also took out more of one of the doors as they left.
Well, you know.
Yeah. And then she's like, she sits down. She's like, so much had happened in such a short time that she felt she had been slapped in the face. Not that she thought of it. She had been slapped in the face.
Right.
But she could move again. And so then she, like, stood up. And, like, ordinarily, she had to be careful when she opened her wardrobe so she didn't strain herself. Now, she opened and closed the door. Open and closed. Open and closed. Her brother found her half an hour later, standing on her own 2 feet and opening and closing her wardrobe.
Yeah. And she's just like, crying.
Yep.
And yeah, tears were running down her cheeks, her eyes were swollen, her nose stuffed. She'd been sobbing when Hedgie started crying. Yeah. See, this scene, I feel like...
Yeah.
Her opening and closing, the thing, that one, I feel like hit for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jai Long is like, what did they do to you? He, like, thought that, like...
Yeah, like, what did they do to you? It's like, no, they they healed you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, man, Lyndon's a pretty cool dude when he's not, murdering people.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, murdering Crawl, that was just, like, poor circumstance. And then he's got to murder Gokran because it's like, those two, it's just, like, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
That it's...
Both of them, he didn't, like, want to, really, like...
But it was just kind of, like, circumstance.
Yep.
Which is interesting. Like, I just wonder if we're gonna get any sort of, like, more on that.
Yeah.
In a sense. Like, how... Lyndon feels morally about those deaths, you know. But I don't know if that's something we're really gonna like linger on or not.
Yeah. Any more in this little
bit?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
And then we go to Jai Show.
Mm-hmm.
And he's alive.
He's alive, the fucker.
Yep, he's alive. My entire notes for this section, because my notes got very sparse by, like, summary or whatever, is Jai Show is alive somehow.
Yeah, well, I know how. He has a tiny little chest in his heart or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. It's
like a tiny little chest that opens up and has just enough shit in it to, like, revive him one time.
Yeah, just enough, like, blood madra, life, and, like...
And something else. Because there's, like, a name for it. Yeah, Heart Guard chest.
Yeah, there we go. Heart Guard chest, yeah.
A spiritual object. A treasure he'd plundered from an ancient clan of soulsmiths. Yeah. Yeah,
and it contained enough blood and life madra to save you from death once, and only once.
And he also somehow had, like, a remnant stashed inside of himself?
Yeah, he had, like, a false remnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had spent months filling it with a decoy remnant, one convincing enough to fool, it seemed, even Athan Aurelius himself.
Yeah, so that's interesting, because it's like, they have, like, because the Jai clan have, like, particular remnants that they, like, pass on from, like, as the family goes on, because they're, like, waiting for one of the elders to die so that Jai Long could get that remnant.
Yeah.
And so it's like, did he essentially, like, did he get one of those kinds of remnant? Just, like, put stuffed into the chest so that it would seem...
It looks like it. So, like, the first line, Jai Daisho woke on a crumbling icy cliff inside a pile of moon-white remnant parts. They were already dissolving in streams of essence, so he must look like he's bathed in stars.
Yeah, so they have that kind of starry appearance that the remnants have from that clan.
Yeah.
See, there was a part of me that was like, that's a little bullshit. But I'm like, no, I mean, like...
I mean, that's what Athan thinks, because we get his reaction later.
We do get his reaction.
He's like, this is bullshit.
This is bullshit.
If I kill someone, they never,
they should be fucking dead. It's like, joke's on you. I, had the spell contingency cast, and, the spell that it used was Revivify.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you can do. As a normal wizard in D&D. But that's not important. This isn't D&D, bitches. And also it's an object.
Yeah.
It's a magical object. Fucking a little chest inside his heart, which is just, like, crazy. Yeah. And, I'm just like, man, like, because on the one hand, I'm like, that's bullshit. But on the other hand, it's like, but we do need Jai Daisho to be around for longer, because if he actually just fucking died here, it'd be like, and Jai Daisho just, like... It'd be weird.
Yeah.
It would be more weird for him to have just, like, shown up this book, not really done much, and then do like a whole bunch kind of right here at the end, and then just die.
Yeah.
It would have been like he's kind of just like the villain out of nowhere. It's like, and then I'm a bad guy. We hear about him throughout the book, but we just don't,
but he's not like a huge presence.
Right. He's not really a huge presence. He's really only kind of like shows up here at the end, and so then for him to just like immediately die would be kind of like anticlimactic for him.
Yeah.
And so like it makes sense for him to like live here with this little bullshit fucking dumbass motherfucker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his whole he wants some revenge. He wants.
Oh yeah, I mean you know That makes sense.
Yeah. And his main thing, he wants to, like, let everyone know he uses pure Madra and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. But he also realizes he still only has, like, about a year left to live. Like, he's still sick, like, in general.
Right. Because he had been hoping that this would, like, let him live for just, like, a little bit longer after he died from the illness.
Yes. Yeah, but instead he was killed early, and now, yeah.
Mm-hmm. How much longer would you even lived if you died from the illness and then it brought you back? Like,
he thought only a couple months.
Yeah, I'm like, should be less than that even, really, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're done with Jai Daisho.
Yep.
And we move on to Suriel.
Yeah. So it starts out with iteration 216, The Limit, and 217, Harrow, terminated. Mm-hmm. They're officially gone. They've crumbled into the void. And so we're getting Suriel just kind of thinking. Yeah, we get some stuff of like the void and like what the like. Mm-hmm. How it kind of like feels there and everything, and like the endless darkness of empty space had pared away first, like black wallpaper peeling away, only to reveal an even deeper hole beneath. The void surrounded them, infinite nothing dotted with swirling balls of color, like a rainbow of fireflies dancing in the night. And then talking about it like the planet like fading away and stuff, leaving fragments, pieces of the planet with a strong enough identity to hold together even in the chaos of the void. There, a disk of earth holding a forest spun into the distance as trees frozen solid in a wind that no longer blew. Like, time working weird and all of that.
And just thinking about like Asriel had like done stuff to like save people,
and then it's like of course, if the Abaddon didn't survive Asriel's absence, it wouldn't matter. Iterations were like fruits, and the way was the vine. So as long as the worlds were healthy and connected to the way, they enjoyed luxuries like causality and existence. Yeah. As the population shriveled, then it like gets less connected to the way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then it gets corrupted and stuff. And then those can break off and infect other worlds and corrupt them and on and on.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like going through the history of like the Abaddon and like all of that type of stuff, like how many systems, like what they have under their protection and control and stuff.
Right, because they were like the Abaddon court was able to like grow and grow and grow
under Asriel,
and then they were like, and then eventually we'll find someone who can replace Asriel, and then they never did, and then Asriel like fucked off.
Because before Asriel, they only had about 250 iterations to take care of. Yeah. With Asriel, they ended up with like 10,000 or something like that. Yeah, they held 10,000 worlds now. Yeah, and then Asriel like left because he'd been trying like to like get them to do other things. And so it's like
and she's trying to figure out if like Asriel's dead.
Yeah, if any of the other judges had gone missing, they could have found someone else to fill their function, but not Asriel. He was irreplaceable and now in all likelihood dead. And then her presence, the probability of Asriel's death is unknown. If he is capable from hiding from the Court of Seven, he is capable of faking his own death. Yeah. And so I was just thinking like, oh, he's probably dead. Like it doesn't make sense for him to like fake his death. Like what would he even be? What was he doing if he's faking his death? Like there's no reason for it. Machiel wouldn't believe it, so Suriel couldn't call off the search. And if he were pretending to be dead, he wouldn't have left her instructions on what to do in his absence. Right. And so she thinks like he's most likely attacked in the middle of doing something while preparing to disappear, and he'd either been killed or driven deeper into hiding, and she had to assume he's dead. And then she's like, if he was alive and hiding even from her, she'd never find him until he wanted her to. All of this, like, proceeding as though he is dead.
Yeah, because it's like we're getting more of this like Suriel stuff, and I'm very curious as to where it's going to end up like going. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. So then she also asks like her presence, like, Asriel had finally taken matters into his own hands as he always did. He'd manipulated fate so that no one could see his departure coming. If anyone could twist a future to such a degree, Asriel could. He prepared to minimize the damage of his absence, but he'd been caught in the middle of that work.
Yeah, but it's like who had caught him, and like who'd be able to kill someone as powerful as Asriel?
So then, entities confirmed capable of killing Asriel while he's fully armed and aware, not found. Entities possibly capable, though not confirmed, information requested, judge killers. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go over some of the judge like killers stuff. So there's the Vroshir, so they're like another organization of some sort or whatever, and they have like some sort of worlds like under their protection that they have or whatever. They're largely unknown. And their main combat people are the Silver Lords, gathered from like all the different worlds and stuff that they conquer and everything. There's the Horseman, rides from world to world, gathering energy systems and replicating their effects. He's demonstrated capabilities from at least 13 dead worlds. Then we got the Mad King, hosts an entity that has killed judges before, but the court would have been notified if he had left his iteration. If he has found a way to cross the way without alerting sector control, then he represents a Class 1 threat.
Right.
And then we have the Angler, who has stolen 6 weapons from Abaddon iterations and remains at large. She has a large arsenal.
The anglerfish.
Yeah. And then we've got Fiends of Chaos, and like what fiends are. True fiends defy classification by nature. The only individuals known capable of threatening judges remained imprisoned in Asylum. I will tell you, Asylum is one of his other series, takes place in Asylum.
Gotcha.
And I wouldn't consider that a spoiler.
Gotcha. Interesting.
But, yeah.
Yeah, because fiends are, like, weird, just, like...
violations of, like, existence, basically.
Yeah.
And also, no fiend has ever demonstrated the ability to pass into existence without disturbing the way. And the Spider Division is... yeah,
has reported no such violations near Harrow or Limit prior to limit expiration. So I imagine the Spider Division are like, you know, they've got the web all around these places, sort of like looking for things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this like Abaddon stuff, this like great like multiverse spanning bureaucracy. It's like, this is gonna be weird and hard to like keep in your head.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's gonna be very like on a scale that's hard to like really like and like weird abstract shit, which I'm like interested in, but I'm also curious how it's gonna end up like being.
Some of the abstract like crazy scale stuff is some of my absolute favorite. Yeah, like it's so weird and like fun. Like I love just like descriptions like I said earlier of like the I've gotten confused.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was looking for.
For me, like, things about, like, how Azrael, like, he's able to escape by being able to shape fate in such a way that no one would know that, like, he's gone. Yeah.
Because other people can also do it, so he can also, like...
yeah, the only one who can shape fate in such a way that he's just, like, fated to not be found by people is such a, like, fun conceptual thing. It's just like, how'd you do it? Well, I just made it so that I was fated not to do not to get caught. As simple as that. They simply wouldn't catch me.
Yeah. And so then we get the Abaddon, some other judge-killing people. For security reasons, each judge's combat potential is not available for access, and as inferences can be made from data. So we have Raziel the Wolf, who has a personal grudge against Azrael, and she was capable of depopulating an iteration even before her first conscious contact with the Way. And Raziel's sword was designed for the execution of judges and Class 1 threats. And they might have like some weapons, like the Wolf Division could use.
That would weapons. Be able to like affect Azrael and stuff.
Yep. So we have Raziel, the Wolf Division, and we've heard of like the Spider Division. Right. And then we get Machiel the Hound as the Judge of Fate. He's the only individual whose prediction skills rival Azrael's. On combat power alone, he was once considered capable of assuming the role of Raziel, though he declined the mantle, and he has attempted to replace Azrael many times, fought to deny Azrael the rank of judge, and led the opposition to all Azrael's proposed modifications to the Eldari Pact. Yeah. And so he wants to, just use the scythe.
Yeah, it's funny, just, like, the Hound and the Wolf.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right back to back like that.
I mix those up a lot.
Yeah, especially because, like, seemingly Machiel's the Hound because could have been the Wolf but isn't.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of feels like.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then that's kind of the end of those, like, what...
people who could have potentially killed Azrael.
Yep.
Are suspects.
Yep. And then we get Surreal kind of just, like, thinking and stuff as, like, the worlds are, like, fractured and everything. So that she decides to check on Cradle and, like, what's been going on there.
Yeah, but it's, like, having a, like...
Yeah, it's like, Lyndon and Yerin together left Sacred Valley and went into the Desolate Wilds. He was trained by a soulsmith in the very basics of the art. It's, like, going through, yeah, and so then talking about Jailong's sister, like, good, pressure would help him grow. His sister was more interesting. She would have met Lyndon in a few more years, if not for Suriel's interference.
Yeah, but why then? Oh!
Yeah.
Oh. Like, Yeah, she would have met Lyndon in a few more years, if not for Suriel's interference.
Yes.
So, like, even... Yes. If he had continued to live in Sacred Valley, they would have met. And she was talking at one point about, like, talking with Jailong about, like, oh, what if we, like... Went to Sacred Valley, yes, essentially.
To the west. Like, there's, like, this hidden place there. We could maybe be safe.
Right. Because we know that, like, Lyndon ends up getting married in that, like, future that Suriel shows him. Do we get anything about her that she was, like, from outside or anything?
We don't get a lot. I think it is kind of implied that that's the case.
Yeah, that it would have been Jai Chen.
Jai Chen, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. Yeah. So maybe we're not gonna get Lyndon Yerin romance. Maybe we're gonna get Lyndon Jai Chen romance. But you know, you never know.
Yep.
Lyndon has two hands.
Yep.
That's such a fun meme.
Yeah.
X character has two hands. Yeah. I don't know. No, bigger twist. Yerin and Jai Chen end up together. And Lyndon's just in the corner, just like, thumbs up.
I love it. Yeah.
Lyndon holds up a sign that says "Love wins."
We also got the exact nature of their relationship would have changed depending on several factors, but the destiny between them must have been quite strong to survive Lyndon's divergence.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So then, as she's like looking at this, she's noticing a handful of gaps and is like confused. Finally, she found what her automated requests had overlooked, the Aurelius family. A young underlord had found Lyndon and Yerin, adopting them and taking them back to the Blackflame Empire for training. That could be a problem. She was familiar with the Aurelius family, or rather, their ancestors, and that they hadn't come anywhere near Lyndon in any of her projections. Why would they? And then looking at Cradle, significant deviations detected. Entity Wei Shi Lyndon has deviated from primary course. Any analysis of current conditions or projections of future activity will have a low degree of accuracy. And she's like, where did I make a mistake? What's happening?
So, okay, yeah, because the mistake is that it didn't account for Athen, because Athen also has a little bead, which means that someone else fucked with Athen's trajectory, and so probably in a way that she
wasn't able to take into account.
Able to take into account, because it's like, this isn't how things are normally supposed to go for either of them, and so they ended up meeting, and that's probably also has to do with Athen just kind of showing up out of a portal one day. Yeah. So that's my guess as to why this weird, like, sort of anomaly is happening. Yeah. I hadn't quite, like, thought of it while we were reading, but now that we're, like, kind of going over it again now, like, that's my guess.
I like it. Yeah.
As to why things are kind of happening the way.
Yeah, and, like, Suriel's completely confused.
It's like, what the hell?
I was like, I did everything right. Like, I didn't do anything wrong here. Like, this should have fallen in with, like, my purview. I should be allowed to do this. Like, nothing she done should have violated those restrictions. Even if Wei Shi Lyndon defied all odds and transcended Cradle, it would only mean that one more potential Abaddon recruit. On a cosmic scale, that was virtually irrelevant. It's like, Cradle wouldn't notice when he was gone. Like, what happened? And then the Hound Division would have seen this. She had to go back to Cradle and determine the origin of this deviation before, and then we have an eyeball appearing and summoning her to meet with Machiel. Judge designation 006 Suriel. Please travel to the following coordinates. Judge designation 001 Machiel requests a meeting.
Yeah. Machiel's like, hey, you fucked up.
Yep.
And it's like, no. But no.
It's like, but it's it should be fine.
It should be fine. This should have been fine.
Yep.
Yeah. But also giving this, like, indication that, like, Linden could, you know, become powerful enough to transcend Cradle and become, like, part of all this, like, Abaddon bullshit. It was like, oh, she's familiar with the Aurelius. Well, she's familiar with their ancestors.
Yep.
And it's like, if she... The way that that's phrased almost makes it feel like she, like, personally maybe knew them.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, was their family founded by some, like...
Right.
Of you fuckers, you know? And if so...
What? Yeah.
You know, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's chapter 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surreal's in trouble.
Yep.
With the law.
Yep, with Machiel, at least one of the other judges.
Yes. It's like, uh-oh, I violated multiverse law.
Yeah. Yeah, so now we have, like, a few names. We've got, because I think Raziel's a new name. So we have Raziel, Gadriel, Machiel, Suriel, Azriel.
Yep, all these fucking L names. Yep. Fucking angel-ass motherfuckers. Oh, yeah,
they're all angel names.
Mm-hmm. Also, Azriel, I keep thinking of Azriel from, like, Undertale.
Yep.
Alright, so that's chapter 21.
Yeah.
Chapter 22, the last... like, proper chapter.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, like, it's fairly short.
It's pretty short, and it's kind of more like an epilogue.
Yes, it definitely feels more like an epilogue, because it's kind of, like, just setting up for next book and stuff.
Yeah. So we're with someone called Renfei, who's a member of the Skysworn, and then also, she's from the Cloudhammer School, I think?
Yeah, she, like, trained with the Cloudhammer School or whatever. Which, I'm curious what Cloudhammer means. What does it mean to Cloudhammer? In my head, I'm just like, you go up real high, and then you, like, slam down on them.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, all that really comes to mind. I hit you with a hammer made of clouds, but, like, you know.
Yeah.
So can you turn clouds into something? Because, like, you know, we know that, like, he had, like, a bed made of pure cloud madra or whatever.
And we know the ships are, like, they've got cloud ships that they ride on that uses...
cloud madra and stuff. And so it's, like, solid enough for them to, like, build ships and whatnot with. So it's, like, what can you do with clouds?
Yeah. So, Renfei is talking to, another, Skysworn member, Byro, and they're, like, trying to figure out, one, like, why the Blackflame trials are open, and, like, they're, like, keeping an eye on that, and then, like, they've noticed, like, Blackflame Madra being used and stuff. And so they're like, oh, they must have a weapon that they've been testing in the Blackflame trial. That must be why they have it open.
Yeah.
Because no one would be stupid enough to raise a Blackflame.
Yeah.
So we're, you know, like, it's gonna be a weapon, which is also stupid, but, like, you know.
Yeah.
And so then they fly up.
But a reasonable amount of stupid.
Exactly. They fly up and they see just this dude chilling there with, like, the most chill core ever. And he's just sitting there cycling, and they're like, oh, where's the weapon? Like, looking for the weapon, and then he switches to Blackflame, and they realize it's Linden and such, and then they take him into custody.
Just get, like, a little arrested.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. Like, they come down, and they're just like, well, you're too bad. You're coming with us now.
Yeah. He's like, whoa, what?
Yeah. And it's like, this one is not a member of the Blackflame family. You might as well be. And she's like, Linden is like, well, like, tell the Aurelius, like, can't you, like, get a hold of the Aurelius? And she's like, well, I'm just gonna tell the Emperor. I'm not worried too much.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yep, so Linden gets himself arrested by this person, Renfei, who I'm like, Renfei, are you going to be a friend in the end?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or are you going to be our sort of antagonist for the next book? Because, like, I don't know. I'm like, we need more friends.
Yeah.
We need more friends and buddies and teammates. So I'm, like, looking out for them.
Yeah.
Yep, and then we get Emperor Naru Huan.
Yes.
The Emperor. With big old wings.
Yeah. A 15-foot wingspan.
That's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much wing.
And all the doors are, like, extra big. So
they're super wide so that they can... I was, like, thinking about that, and it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like all of the rooms have to be so big.
And also etiquette dictated that he brush both the sides of the frame with his outer feathers, demonstrating that anyone else would have to give way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like, nope, I'm going all the way through this door. I take up the whole door.
Yep.
Yeah, 15 feet. That's too wide.
Yeah.
That's too
crazy.
wide. Like, how...
That's really crazy.
That's 3 straws.
Yeah.
That's 3 straws wide. And that's too much. All the rooms have to be so big.
Yeah.
In order to just, like, fit that. I love that it's something that he, like, thinks about. Because also it's like, they could just, like, fold those wings in. But no.
But no, it's a status thing to have your wings out and, you know.
Just like, you motherfuckers. All these sacred artists, they're all such assholes.
Oh, yeah.
All the sacred artists are, like, the most, like, bullshit motherfuckers. Like, you guys... of course we like Ethan because, like, as much as Ethan is also, like, a dipshit, as much as he's also, like, a little piece of shit, he's humble in the sense of, like, we're public servants.
Yeah.
We clean things because that's a good thing to do. Instead of being, like, the most pompous motherfuckers in the world. And lording power over everyone.
And he's, like, purposefully trying to stay, like, in the mid-ranks and, you know, like, like
keep a low profile. You know. Keep a low profile and all that.
And,
no one had walked past Narjuan in almost 20 years. Yeah.
And we see a bit of, like, of his palace and stuff, like, all of that, like, some fun description and stuff. And
that he has many wives and servants.
But there's, like, no one around, like, he, like, walks in and, like, no one's there, and he's, like, confused and freaked out, and then he's like, Ethan?
Yeah. And then Ethan shows up, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'm just pals with the Emperor.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, how?
He goes, welcome home. And he goes, where are our loyal servants? Someone altered the schedule last night. It seems everyone believes it is someone else's shift.
That's very funny.
Yep. And then the Emperor's also like, the Emperor had never expected his security to hold up to Ethan Aurelius. It had been a joke for generations that if the Aurelius family wanted the throne, they would have it. Their bloodline gifts were so dangerous that if they hadn't shown such a complete lack of ambition, one of the Blackflame emperors would have exterminated them centuries ago.
Yeah, I'm like, why? So why did Daisha try and do any of this?
I think because of that. Because they were scared of him.
Yeah,
like, because they have so much information and so much, like, all of that. Yeah. And they're seen as, like, you know, not, like, super high up, so it's...
but also, like...
And it seems like they were making a play for, like, higher families anyway.
Yeah. But again, it's like, if the Aurelius family wanted to be the Imperial family, they just could. Yeah,
which is why they just, like, if we get them out of here, so then they can't become the Imperial family,
then but why would you think that you even have a chance?
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm just
he thought he had his plan, like, set up or whatever. He was quite proud of it, but, you know, it didn't...
Yeah, I'm just like, what? Because, like, there's something a little about, like, Ethan just, like, showing up and being, oh yeah, I'm just buds with the Emperor. And it's like, then why are we worried about anything?
Yeah.
Why are we worried about anything then? Just, what? I don't know. I'm like, Ethan, you're a little too... Yeah. Like, if you're just buds with the Emperor, then why are we bothering with any of this shit? But I mean, I don't know. I guess he can't just get whatever he wants from the Emperor, but, like, I don't know. What's your deal? Yeah. Man.
Yep. Yeah, they're, like, friendly, but not, like, friends.
Yeah.
And everything.
It's like, yeah, but he can pull this shit.
Yeah.
And just be allowed to get away with it.
Yeah, because then he's, like, because he's also looking for his wife, and Ethan's, like, nudged, like, she's off too, or whatever. Like, no one's listening, and, Narjuan is, like, nervous that his, like, wife is missing, or whatever. And Ethan's like, no, she's shopping!
Right.
Shopping! She's with your sister, who owed me a favor.
Could have warned me, Ethan. You know, just do this.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not, like, happy about it.
No. But still. Yeah. Yeah, and do we know what level the Emperor is? Do we get his advancement?
I think,
Because I have this, like, notion that, like, has the rank of Overlord, but I don't know if that's actually, like, a thing that's been said, or if I just, like, assume that that's a thing.
I think we do know Lord.
Yeah, because that would make sense, because it would make sense for him to be the level of advancement above the Underlords.
Yeah.
And for him to be, like, Overlord and also, like, Emperor, the two titles, like, make sense together.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what makes an Overlord? Huh?
Yeah.
We know that an Underlord has, like, the fucking soul fire or whatever the fuck, but we also don't know what that is exactly yet.
Yep.
So, like, what makes you an Overlord? And then what's past that, huh?
Yep.
Because I know that there's, like, 20 bajillion steps past that, probably. You know. Where's Sage?
Where is Sage?
What level is fucking Suriel and, you know, the wolf and all that jazz? Machiel?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they're judges.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is that, you know...
Yep. Yeah, like, where would, like, yeah.
Like, is that on the advancement scale with these guys, or is that just, like, a term that the Abaddon bureaucracy uses for their position? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine...
I would say it's outside, like, traditional advancement in, like, the Cradle series. Because we know...
Yeah, because, I mean,
we know Suriel isn't from Cradle.
Right.
So, like...
So
we know that her, like, powers and stuff are different from powers on Cradle.
Right.
And she's a judge.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what's you know, what's up with all them?
Yeah.
What are they about?
Fisher Gesha over here.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And then
yeah, so we have a bit of a, like, political conversation between them and stuff. Like, Ethan's like, I wouldn't just pop up here if you would have invited me, and Narhuan is like, I can't. Inviting the Aurelius Underlord to the palace would be a rebuke against the Jai clan. And then Ethan's like, well, I killed their Underlord, so, like, as long as you're fine with that, then that should be fine. And then Narhuan is like, well, if you had to fight him, you should have killed him. And he goes, I could have assigned you as temporary guardian of the Western Territories while the Jai dissolved to infighting. And then he realizes that Ethan is, like, shocked or whatever. He's like, what is it? I did kill him! And he goes, I have a dream tablet that arrived yesterday. I have a dream tablet from him that arrived yesterday demanding I punish you for your insolent actions at Serpent's Grave and requesting Imperial assistance in establishing his authority over the city.
Yep, and then Nathan's, like, just so dumbstruck that, like, the dude's not actually dead, and Narhuan is just so fucking smug about, like, knowing something that Ethan doesn't, because Ethan's supposed to know everything as the Aurelius Underlord.
Yep. Am I to understand that I just received accurate information before the Aurelius Underlord? Let me just... Narhuan took a deep breath. Breathe it in. This is a good day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I killed him, Juan. I killed him. You left an enemy alive. Do you know how to tell whether someone is dead? Would you like me to teach you?
Just, what a little bitch. Yeah. Fucking, I'm like, no, Juan, you little bitch.
I haven't made a mistake like that no, it's never happened. Well, I'm gonna need a new plan now.
Yeah.
So he's already thinking of some new plans and such, but...
yeah. You didn't check his heart for bullshit.
Yeah.
You gotta check for more bullshit.
Yep. And so then Ethan goes, like, then he brings up, the Emperor brings up the path of Blackflame. And Ethan's like, whatever. That, I need an explanation. If only to know what you could possibly have thought you were doing. You had to realize I would take him from you someday. Teaching someone the path is not illegal. Neither is hanging yourself, but that doesn't make it wise. He's going to be isolated for his own safety and to stop him from causing a panic. And so then Ethan said, that does bring us around to the reason I'm here. I have a request. And it's like, this Gary Soren, already have him in custody. I can't let a Blackflame go. He'll cause a riot. Let him go? No, not at all. I want you to make sure he still has to fight. And that's it.
Yep. That's the end of that. And then the bloopers. The bloopers. My favorite little bit.
Yep. Yeah, the first one is with the Jai Chen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Where it's like, Jai Long is talking to Jai Chen about, like, how...
Crawl died.
Crawl died, and she's like, wow, he sounds so cool and amazing and awesome.
Iron? Amazing! An iron striking down a high gold? That's incredible!
Yeah. You said his name's Lyndon, didn't you? You think you could deliver a letter to him for me? I'll write him right now. Dear Lyndon. Just, which, you know, now I'm like, okay, so that really, to me, like, fuels a little bit of this, like, I guess they're gonna probably have some sort of, like, something going on. Which I would not have expected at first. Yeah. You know, upon first hearing about Jai Chen and whatnot. I'm like, because there's a little bit of hinting with, like, Yerin there. They have, like, these, like, little moments. But, yeah, obviously we haven't had him really interact with Jai Chen except for, like, just now at the end of this book. Yeah. And then the next one is about, like, the bit where... fucking
Ethan is like, to the blood pits.
Yep. and then instead of it being a joke, he just actually sends her to the blood pits, and then Lyndon's like, is this maybe
too far? Lyndon, you know what I have to do to you now?
Blood pits?
Blood pits.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then there's a...
Oh, right. The Osriel bit, it really fucking killed me.
Yeah, the probability of Osriel's death is unknown. It is most likely a mystery we'll never solve. You're probably right, so let's just stop trying. Yes, we will probably never hear any more about this Osriel fellow. I don't even think he's that important, really.
Agreed.
Let's just assume he's dead and never try to find his killer or unravel the mystery as to why he ran off in the first place.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And so, Osriel's death remained unsolved, one of the great questions of the cosmos, and his name was never spoken again.
That one really fucking killed me. The ones like that where he really just, like, is playing around with our, like, just, like, understanding of how, stories work.
Yeah.
You know, like the one about, like,
it's like, and the story ended. So whatever.
Yes,
like,
yeah. Where Lyndon just dies.
My expectations were certainly subverted.
Yes. Yep. Just because he has such a, like, love and understanding for these kinds of things. Yeah. So, like, seeing him, like, be aware of it and joke around with it in these, like, bloopers is very funny to me. And then Jai Daisho was living a nightmare, but then it's just, like, a regular nightmare of him, like, in his underwear, and all of his peers are laughing at him and all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
And this...
Then he woke up, saw all of his true gold's dead, and Nathan Raleigh's holding a blade to his throat. He sighed in relief. All things considered, this could have been much worse.
Yep. Oh yeah, and then the tablet where it's like, the dragon advances, the dragon destroys, the dragon conquers. It's like, wait, there's more. The dragon is respected. The dragon is cool. People like the dragon. The dragon isn't scared. The dragon wins all the time. The dragon could beat you up. The dragon left his ex-girlfriend, not the other way around.
She's a liar, so you shouldn't trust anything she says about it anyway. This dragon was working through some issues.
Yep, just...
Lyndon slowly covered the tablet up back with dirt. Yeah, this fierce burning outer robe cost me more than I thought. First thing, that name's growing on me. Yeah, fierce burning outer robe. I like it.
I think it'll stick.
Yeah. Then there's a Cassius...
Oh yeah, where it's like...
Dance, puppets, dance!
Getting, like, really sadistic in the training course.
Yep, and then the next one's...
Oh, right, it's like... looking at the Blackflame and then being like, actually, you know what? I want a different one. It's like, wait, are you sure?
I had this whole thing set up.
Nope, Path of the Broken Star.
Fortunately, I know another turtle.
There's a turtle for this path too? Oh, Lyndon. There's a turtle for every path. You know what? There should be a turtle for every path. Oh yeah, and then just like them getting like attacked in the middle of the sky while they're like flying over and stuff. And it's like, if only you'd been paying attention.
Oh yeah, that's how long the series.
Oh yeah,
We're 15 parts or 20.
Oh yeah, because they're talking about like how far along do you feel? We're making good progress. So I put a number to it. I'd say our journey is about 25% done. 3 parts out of 12. Hey, that's not bad. Doesn't have to end there. Go longer, much longer.
This could be us forever.
Yeah, which that bit. I wonder when this was written. Like, what year did book 3 come out? I wonder.
2017.
2017. Okay, because that, like, that feels a little bit like at the end of, I think, the first episode of Rick and Morty, where Rick is just like, 100 years, Rick and Morty. Just keep doing this forever. 100 years, Rick and Morty. And, you know.
Yeah. 100 years and 200 installments. This all turn old and gray and keep marching until all joy and wonder of us left our lives forever. Forever, Lyndon. This could be us forever.
Nah, 12 is good. Yeah. The bloopers are still one of my favorite little parts at the end of these books. Like, just after everything happens, just getting a little moment to, like... because it's just like you don't
laugh.
To just laugh because like you don't get that.
Yep.
In no other book do you get bloopers. It's such a like silly little idea to just like have unique to the Cradle series. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he does them for his like other books or not, but just like
he does for the Last Horizon series.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, which. I'm so excited for the next book in that series.
Because the next one's coming out soon.
Yeah, this can be a segue to the next section, what we've been reading.
Yeah.
And such.
Mm-hmm. So, what we've been reading?
So I haven't read this yet, except for I have read the first chapter, so technically I have been reading it, so it counts. Because he put out the first chapter of the pilot, which is book 4 of the Last Horizon series, which if you've read Cradle and have not read the Last Horizon series, read it. Like, it's so good. Like, it's a little bit of a different feeling from, like, the Cradle series, but, like, it's just so fun. It's great sci-fi nonsense. It's wonderful. And I'm so excited for the pilot to come out, which is coming out on Tuesday. It's like next Tuesday, or like this coming Tuesday. It's like in 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited.
That's great.
I'm listening to it at work on Tuesday.
I didn't realize how soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew it was going to be soon because I knew it was July, but...
Yep, and then in like another week after that, Sanderson's new like standalone Cosmere novel will be coming out on the 10th. So I'm also very excited for Isles of the Emberdark, which comes out the week after.
Yeah.
And then I've been on a kick too. I've also been reading. I finally finished Iron Gold, which was amazing. It was very good. It made me cry. There's it's been great, and I'm very scared. Everyone tells me to be scared for Dark Age, and I am extremely scared for Dark Age because I can see the tragedy happening. This series is very much a lot of tragedy, and it's very good and sad and great.
Yep. And I haven't been reading anything, I don't think. I'm like, I don't think I've read any more.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time in the meantime.
Yeah.
We're always reading One Piece.
Yeah.
We
New chapter of One Piece was great.
It was crazy.
Spoilers for like chapter 1153.
Yeah. We
current
find
Elbaf.
Yeah, we start getting as teching so like
aptly.
So with such foresight.
Yeah.
Loki's sad crybaby backstory.
Which is just so accurate.
His very prescient name. Because like for a while now he's been saying Loki's, like, we're about to get Loki's sad crybaby backstory and waiting on Loki's sad crybaby backstory. And then it turns out it's literally
sad crybaby backstory.
Yep, he's literally starts with his sad baby origin.
Yep. Some of it, like Oda's like coolest, weirdest, creepy design. Like cute, creepy, like
this little creepy baby climbing up the side of a frozen mountain.
It's so creepy. And it's great. Like such cool art and all that.
Yeah.
And this child ripped a bear in half.
Yeah, I didn't quite
like literal newborn.
Like, I didn't quite get that until people were like talking about it and showing the panel, because like Archer always like does good videos on this stuff. Yeah. And fucking Murphy's gonna be talking about it like tomorrow probably. I'll probably listen to that like at work. I normally will like listen to her videos like on the way to work or like while I'm at work all the time, and then we can watch it together later. But yeah, I think that's been kind of mainly it. We listened to a little bit more Magnus so that you're finally in season 5.
Season 5, yep.
So you now know what season 5 is like.
It's been good so far.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's about it for us.
Yeah. It's a long one again.
Yeah, a little bit of a long one, but we were wrapping up this book, so it's good.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess this has been Let's Talk About Book.
Yeah, and we'll do Soulsmith next time.
Yeah, we'll do Soulsmith?
No, Skysworn.
Skysworn.
I mix up Soulsmith and Skysworn.
Yeah, I'm like, we already did Soulsmith.
Yeah, you are correct. We already did Soulsmith.
Yeah,
we're gonna do Soulsmith again.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to Soulsmith. Yeah, that's the reading order.
Exactly.
The proper reading order.
Then we'll just go to Ghostwater, and then we'll come back.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
this has been Let's Talk About Book, and now you can go forth and think about book on your own time. Have a lovely whatever time it is.
Have a lovely, lovely day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.